Well, here we go.
Oh, good.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, GRAND. That's GRAND. Enter it now.
Go to ESPNAVL.com to play, and good luck.
Live from the Ingle studio,
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
the Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dog see! Let him on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons! By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh, my God. The Jets killed him.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app, and we are seen everywhere. On YouTube, just go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. It is a lovely Friday. Hopefully there will be no hail today. Did you get hammered by the hail yesterday?
Hammered. I mean, absolutely hammered. We were sitting here. Amy and I both have offices in the house. It got to be about 4 o'clock, and I started hearing this noise, and I could not figure out what it was. And the next thing I knew, it sounded like the house was about to come apart. And she just stood at the door like, are we going to die? Is life over as we know it?
Yeah, I thought there was a tornado coming through. We don't usually see hail a lot in this area, or at least not in West Asheville. South Asheville tends to get more hail down Hendersonville way, but it was a strange sight to see. Anyhow, yeah, that gave you a nice little scare. Hopefully you didn't get caught on the road in that. Thankfully, I did not leave on time yesterday.
I'm just glad that the Parks Ford Mobile Studio was underneath a tree. So it was nice and protected from all of the things.
Indeed. Welcome into the program. Hopefully we will have some nice weather for the weekend. It's another day to just sit and waste away and think about how much we really want football to be around. So focusing this off-season day now on the least improved teams after the 2025 NFL Draft. That'll be the final 2 hours of the program. But first, taking a trip around the headlines, Jeremy, Jaden Higgins. Or at least, well, I don't want to give Jaden Higgins the props here necessarily. Let's give the props to the agent of Jaden Higgins. Second-round pick by the Houston Texans, wide receiver out of Iowa State, became the first second-round pick to get a fully guaranteed contract. Why has this never been done before?
Because you didn't have to. You didn't have to. So when we went into the time of slotting picks, you always kept a little bit of protection. Well, as time has gone on, that protection's become virtually nothing. So, yes, Jaden Higgins is the first person to have his full $11.7 million contract guaranteed. The kid that, and I can't remember the name now, of who was drafted at the 34th pick last year, his was guaranteed for $11.5.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not like this is some huge deal, but it kind of is. And here's why I say that. One of the things that people don't, I think, give enough attention when we get around NFL discussions is how important how you are viewed to agents and to players. The Texans basically just got free publicity for doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You really didn't do anything that changes the cap ledger all that much. In the last 5 years, I could count on one hand the number of second and third round picks that didn't make it through the first 3 years. Because when you take guys that high, you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Unless you're Ja'Kai Polite, who I still hope is working at a bait and tackle shop in Little Pterodactyl Bay, Wisconsin. The worst first 2-day pick I've ever seen. Didn't even make the roster as a rookie. That's hard to do. But the Houston Texans now get the benefit of all the agents, all the different people around the league are looking at Houston going, they take care of their players. They do the thing that you don't have to do. And so moving forward, when you have a negotiation, if it's between the Houston Texans and, say, my New York Jets, who notoriously are known for not doing that, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I also will not be shocked if we have 20 more second-round picks who are fully guaranteed this season.
Right, because once one does it, once one gets the deal, sends the signal to every other agent of, oh, well, I didn't realize we could do that now. Now we can broach the subject. Because if it's never been done before, it's never been done before. It's probably been asked before. Hey, how about a fully guaranteed deal for my guy? He's a really good pick. He's like, why would I do that? Nobody does that. But now that the ice has been broken, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you ask for it at least?
Well, I mean,
especially if you're a running back, right? I'm looking at like Quinshon Judkins and Caleb Johnson, guys like that. Like this could be
he went in the third round.
But still, I mean, this could be the opportunity for those guys to get some guaranteed money early in their deals. This might be the way that running backs can get a little bit more early in their careers.
Well, the guy
they've been looking for a way to do it for years, so maybe this is part of that.
The guy I would love to be today is the guy that represents Carson Schlesinger, the only guy that was selected ahead of Higgins in the second round. Because I just went to Cleveland and went, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. It's totally up to you. Your call, but this is happening whether you like it or not.
I hope you got good representation.
I think Schlesinger is with, what is that guy's name? He's a good one.
His agent? Is that who you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I have a list around here somewhere that somehow we got back from Green Bay. I had a list with everybody's representation on it, and it disappeared somewhere. I remember it being on this desk, but I do not know where it went from there.
Jerry Maguire, is he still in the business? Is he
Cuba
still
Gooding
doing
Jr.
things?
Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Not him.
No, not that guy. So, first time ever, a second-round pick is getting a guaranteed deal, and good for him. I will always say I will never begrudge a guy for going to get his money.
Can I play conspiracy theorist for a minute?
Sure.
You want me to tell you why I think this happened now and had not happened in the past?
How come?
3 letters. NIL.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are now way more familiar with negotiating than they've ever been before. And look, I get it. Because the thing nobody's talking about, Jaden Higgins took a little bit below slot to get a fully guaranteed deal. It's not much. I crunched the numbers earlier. It was like $300,000. But he guaranteed it to himself.
Right.
Why would I not do that? And I guarantee you, Jaden Higgins said it to the agent. Because for the agent, it doesn't really change anything. The agent's guarantee is the same regardless. Because you're getting X amount, depending on what it is. Depends on who the representation is, depending on what you negotiated. You're getting X% of the top dollar amount regardless. So the agent didn't necessarily have to fight for this because it didn't matter to them. If he gets cut here, he's going to go sign another deal somewhere else, and it's probably going to be better for me. My conspiracy theorist here is Jaden Higgins went to, the guy's name's Chris, but I can't remember his last name, Chris Cabot, and said, fully guaranteed. I want it all. I want every cent of it. I don't care if it's less. Because in reality, that actually costs the agent a little bit of money. So you get a kid that's gone through the NIL thing, and he knew what he wanted. And that's I have said a lot of bad things about NIL and the NCAA. I'm not upset by that at all.
Mm-hmm.
You also have a flood of players now. I mean, guys that went in the early second round in this past class, they would have been first rounders 5 years ago. Nick Ebenwari, there's no doubt in my mind, would have gone in the first round 5 years ago. Because these classes weren't that deep. The minute guys could get into the draft, they were going. Now that's not happening because I can get almost as much money to stay here. My deal's not guaranteed there. It is guaranteed here, and I have way more control in college football than I do in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. There is a yin and a yang here.
Well, I mean, look, there were always going to be good things about this.
Mm-hmm.
I just always said the good is grossly outweighed by the bad. And now I think you're starting to see why.
I mean, but it is for now until this becomes the new normal, until it gets figured out. At some point, this will all iron itself out, and there will be a steady flow. You don't think so?
Will it?
You don't think at some point college football is going to the powers that be in college football are going to figure this thing out, and they're going to go, okay, this is how we need to do it, and here we go away for the future. Whether that be cutting it down to this super conference against that super conference, or whatever deal you can come up with. But at some point, it's already narrowing itself down.
Hi.
Right? Right now we're at the point where we have two super conferences essentially,
mm-hmm.
and we're still at the point where teams are fighting. They're trying to jockey for position to be a part of the club.
Okay, so what of what you just said is normaling this out? Let me ask you a question, and I'm going to use a comment from our YouTube chat to better elaborate my answer.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Shelton just asked me, will the NCAA pass the 5-year eligibility rule this year? They should. Do I have any confidence that they will? No. You know why? Because for 5 years now, almost 5 full years, the NCAA has sat on its hands and just gone, what do we do? It's already out of control. What do we do to save it? It's nothing. It's nothing. Because they have no control. At this point, the NCAA has become completely irrelevant. What you just said about super conferences doesn't have a damn thing to do with the NCAA. It has nothing to do with NIL. That's the schools jockeying for position to save their own keisters.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you have 130. I can't remember the number now that we've added Delaware and that other school I don't care about. You have 130 some odd entities. They're all looking to save themselves.
Yeah.
The players are all looking to position themselves for the most money and their future on the whole. Meanwhile, you have the governing body that's basically going, we lost. It's not in our control anymore. You guys just figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the NCAA is a teacher that has all the kids in the room, and as opposed to teaching them anything, they just threw a knife in the middle of the room and went, y'all figure it out. Yes. And they walked out of the room and said, bring me your leader. And that's kind of a crass analogy, but it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that guys like Jaden Higgins are coming out of this way more versed on the business side and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said a few minutes ago, there's a give and a take. There's always going to be a good. There's always going to be a bad.
Absolutely.
The good is that I think you're going to see way less guys go broke when they come out of the league. I've had way more players tell me in the last year, I haven't spent $1 of my salary. I lived off endorsement money. I lived off whatever else they do to make cash. That's the benefit.
It's an awesome plan.
It is an awesome plan.
I hope you can continue to do that.
It is an awesome plan.
Because we've all heard the stories, right? We all saw that documentary.
Broke.
That 30 for 30 that they did. I mean, it's heartbreaking to see that happen. And I hope that's what I hoped was going to come about with the NIL stuff was that now we're going to see more leadership, I guess, more I don't know, steering the guys in the right direction, teaching them the things that they need to know before they get into the pros, and kind of give them that beginner's course, I guess. Right? You're giving them the intro to professionalism course in college. They're getting
and
a cut
that's
of it.
good.
they're getting a cut of the deal. They get to learn how to manage their money. You know, we're providing them with services. I know many of the colleges have those already set up through their trusts or whatever, or what do they call them? What's the little groups? They're not boosters anymore. The collectives, right? The collectives have all of these services to teach guys how to manage their money and stuff. I hope that's what comes about.
Well,
but the NIL
and all those things are good.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get into the bad, because there is a bad. There's actually, for me, there's a lot of bad. I want to see how close you come on this. I just finished my top 100 summer scouting for next year's draft. We're going to start doing some of those things next week because Tank's a jackass and got me doing this way too early, and I hate him for it. How many of my top 100 play for a school that is not in the Power Four?
Oh, let's go 27. Is that way too low?
Okay, I'm going to ask the question again because I don't think you understood what I just asked you. How many players that are in my initial top 100 play for schools that are not in the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC, or the SEC? I cannot hear you. So I'll just answer the question. It's 0. There's not a single one.
Yo, I lost you, man.
I can hear you. I can't hear squat.
Quality products and next day delivery.
Yeah, reconnect to the brick.
Always play it safe.
Okay.
Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger.
Okay.
For the ones who get
Good
it
deal.
done.
That'll be the greatest cliffhanger ever.
I'm Amy Grant. No one is more
That's what I was like.
than
I was like,
living with
and
a rare
we'll
heart
get the
condition.
answer to that question
listen to
coming
your
up
heart.
next.
I'm here today because I did. Learn more.
What was the
at
question? Now I forgot.
healthheart.org.
How many players in my
Made
top
for this
100
mountain exists to
Yes.
empower
next
listeners
year
to rise above their
do not play in the
struggles and face
SEC,
the
Big
mountain
10,
in
Big
front of
12,
them.
or SEC?
So during mental health,
Okay, did you hear me say
focus on your
27?
emotional well-being. Tune into the podcast and
Yes, I
climb that
did.
mountain.
Okay.
Will never be
All
able
right.
to change.
'Cause we heard nothing after I said
The
27.
thing that you refuse to say, hey, this
They could
is
hear
my
me on
mountain.
YouTube.
This
They
is
could
the
not
struggle.
hear you.
Listen to Made for
They
This
could hear
Mountain
you on the
the
radio and could
number
not hear
one
me.
podcast network.
Gotcha.
iHeart.
Yeah. All right, hang
Open
on.
your free iHeart app.
I do love
Search
that Bob
Made for
Brown
This
says
Mountain.
reset the
Looking for
computer
something
every time
fresh
this
on
happens.
Thursday
Like
nights?
that's an
Join
option.
us at Bear's Smokehouse Barbecue.
That's my option every time.
If I reset it, y'all
front,
disappear
a
for
new
20
live
minutes.
Unplug it and plug it back in.
Yep,
Hello,
y'all
female
disappear for
artists.
20 minutes.
Every
if I
Thursday
do.
from 6:30 till 8:30 p.m. in partnership with WTF Fest, we're bringing powerful performances and good vibes to
I don't
the
know
stage.
exactly what
it's
just
free,
happened there.
it's fun, and it's all about supporting women in music. WTF Thursdays at Bear Smokehouse Barbecue, downtown Asheville.
Looking to buy or sell in Western North Carolina? At Clarissa Sells WNC, we're proud to be the #1 real estate team in Buncombe County, selling over 100 homes in 2024. We represent both buyers and sellers, and with a personalized approach to meet your needs.
At Clarissa Sells WNC, real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. Call me today, Clarissa Marshall, at 828-774-6343. When it comes to real estate, we're here for what matters most, you.
Wheels for Meals of Western North Carolina is doing it again. Their next car show for a cause is coming up Saturday, May 24th. Cars Against Breast Cancer at the Advanced Auto Parts in Oakley Plaza, 801 Fairview Road. It'll be an afternoon of family-friendly fun with a 50-50 and raffle prizes, including a PS5 and the grand prize, a week in a condo in Myrtle Beach, Tennessee, or Virginia. There'll be live music, face painting, and games for the kids. Join Wheels for Meals Western North Carolina, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturday, May the 24th at Oakley Plaza.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. Our mission, to improve lives with every interaction. This is JW, General Manager at Parks Ford Hendersonville. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com. That's parksfordhendersonville.com.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, eh, God?
It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy. And we are live once again, both of us back the way it's supposed to be.
Well, not the way that was the greatest tease in the history of radio. It was. How many is it? Death.
Yes. Yes. All right. So back to the question at hand here. How many in Jeremy's top 100 for the 2026 NFL draft class, how many prospects come from non-Power 4 schools? My guess was 27. Is that too low or too high?
That is wildly too high.
Too high? Well, really? Okay.
It's 0.
Excuse me?
There's not 1.
Really?
Bill Workman has 2. Now that I can be heard again, let me ask you the second layer of that. How many of my top 100 played at non-Power 5 schools last year?
How many?
14. They all transferred to bigger schools. DJ Harvey leaves San Jose State, goes to USC.
Mm-hmm.
Running back from Tulane goes to Oregon. I mean, I could do this for a while. The only one that's even really all that close, there's a defensive end at Texas State that I do like. And he did stay at Texas State because they paid him a bajillion dollars. Other than that, it's all Power 4 schools.
Yeah.
NIL killed every conference that's smaller than the Power 4. Because you can't keep guys. All you are is the minor leagues. You really develop a guy, you really scout a guy really hard, you develop him, all you did was set him up to be a stud at Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it is.
And hope that I can be the rebound. And hope that I can be the rebound franchise, essentially, for somebody who maybe lost their gig. Right? I think about like Miami with Carson Beck. You think about the mercenaries that we have now, the Dylan Gabriels of the world. It gives those guys an opportunity to have a career because they're likely not going to have one in the NFL. I don't think.
Okay, so here, I've said the negative, now I'm going to say the positive.
Mm-hmm.
It's made our jobs so much easier. I'm going to give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
Mekhi Hughes has been at Tulane for 2 years. I had to look up his name because I couldn't remember it. He's been at Tulane for 2 years and has been an absolute dog.
Okay.
Had 1,400 yards last year, had 1,300 yards, almost 1,400 the year before. 22 touchdowns, and can catch a little bit out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
He is everything you look for in a running back, and he's legit 6 foot tall, 210. The hang-up we would have had years ago is how does he play against competition that is on par with himself?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we're going to find out. Because now he's playing at Oregon. He's the starting running back at Oregon. So we get 13 to 16 games of him playing against Big Ten competition.
Oh, so wait, even more reason to doubt small school kids. Awesome. That's just what they needed.
At this point, I doubt them heavily.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse every year.
Because
last year I had the Charles Grants and the guys like that they had said, I'm going to stay here. Now the money's gotten so stupid, they can't.
Mm-hmm.
How does a kid, and I'll use Grant as an example, how does a kid stay at William and Mary who cobbled together $75,000 or whatever it is when you've got families that need the help. You know, mom spent every dollar that the family had sending me to camps, sending me to whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And then my reward is I'm going to make you wait an extra year so I can stay at William and Mary. I can stay at North Dakota State, and I'm going to throw $1 million that would pay every cent of that back away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've heard that like 5 full times in the lead up to this cycle. I wanted to stay at blank, but I couldn't. Because I couldn't look at my mom who had worked, her job, or my dad, or whoever it was, had worked a job in a factory, or had worked a job as a teacher, or had worked a job as an insurance agent, and all of their ancillary income was building to getting me to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's 7 figures at Oregon that all I have to do is say yes. It's kind of like the draft. It's like the draft a year early. I'm going to the highest bidder, not necessarily the best fit for me, and that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day.
Right.
Texas A&M. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to do a documentary on the podcast of Texas A&M and why Texas A&M guys scare the bejesus out of me.
Look, I do not envy teams, or I do not envy anybody in this situation, honestly, because everybody's got to be the test case, right? Everybody's got to find their way on how this works. It's what we're going through at North Carolina right now with Bill Belichick, right? We're trying to discover how to do all of this. So we're just starting a whole brand new system and see if this works. See if the professional model from the NFL can come in and work at the college level, because that's what this is now. This is AAA baseball. And just like minor league baseball, we have levels here, right? The SEC, the Big Ten, that's AAA level. You got like the ACC, they're like, they're like down high double A. They're high double A, right?
Yeah, because you're also forgetting.
Right.
I will say this: I'm saying way more nice things about NIL than I planned on.
Mm-hmm.
There are a handful of guys that were D2, and I even saw a D3 guy that now are going to get shots at Power 5 schools because they were beating the competition so aggressively. Teams missed out on their first choice, and they went, we'll take a shot on the D3 guy.
Yeah, what about that guy?
How long has it been since a D3 player was drafted? I can tell you it's been at least 8 years.
Okay.
Now, a bunch of them have been signed as undrafted free agents.
Ouachita Baptist, that's not a D3?
No, it's a D2.
Oh, okay.
Or no, that's the NAIA.
I remember we had one of those a couple of years ago.
D3, they're always really easy to pinpoint because they sound like schools that could be 14 minutes from where we're sitting. Brevard College Technical Institute of Fairview.
Is that Mount Olive? Isn't that the one that keeps winning the D3 championship?
No, it's Mount Union.
Mount Union. That's what Mount Union. Yeah. It's just it's taken what was there to begin with and amplified it massively, because we know who has the money. We know where the bread is buttered. Everybody's just trying to make their play to survive, and the kids are no different. Right? These young men are making this decision to better themselves along with their families, and they're getting the opportunity to make that decision earlier in life. And this time, or instead, this time, they have the ability to kind of control this. I don't have that opportunity at the next level. I get drafted, I go where I go. Now I have the ability to kind of find my own way. Some people don't like that, the ability, the freedom of movement, because it can have its drawbacks. But everybody's learning the system at the same time, and players are going to get to know. You're going to have, your horror stories. The more and more we go down this path of, hey, do you remember such and such? I can't. Zach Evans is the name that would come to mind. Like a really high recruit that couldn't find his way and bounced around to a whole bunch of different schools and never amounted to much. But that guy would have made a ton of money in NIL. Possibly. We don't know, because that was right before all of this kicked into play. But now you have the ability to have a career before your career.
You have to make decisions like an adult. Sorry, I was muting my mic to make sure you didn't hear all my mouse clicks because I went down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
The last D3 player drafted was Quinn Miners.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was in 2021. For some reason, I thought UW Whitewater was D2. Ali Marpet was the one I was thinking of that was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you had one more in between that.
From
Ben Barch.
Humboldt?
Yes. Yeah. And Ben Barch from St. John's got drafted in 2020. That's 3 guys in 10 years. Mm-hmm. Now, there were guys that had opportunities. But to what you were saying, now these guys are having to make adult decisions. That's something that I didn't really factor in when we started this, is that now guys they're making their own money. They're making their own decisions. And so when you see a deal like Jaden Higgins and you go, that didn't benefit the agent at all. So where do you think that came from? It came from him. It came from him saying, I want the money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a benefit. The negative is that, to what you said, we've gone to basically 2 conferences that really matter. And if you don't believe me, look at the transfer class rankings.
Mm-hmm.
22 of the top 24 are in the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yes.
The other 2 are ACC and Big 12 schools that spent a bajillion dollars. I don't know. Texas Tech found $28 million on a dead guy.
Wow.
Like, I mean, there was somebody like dropped a suitcase and they picked it up and went, we're going to be good for a year. Texas Tech spent a bajillion dollars that I have no idea where it came from.
The Red Raiders out there robbing stagecoaches or something.
But
still doing it the old way in Texas.
It's a give and take. And the thing you have to be careful about is you can't bite the hand that feeds you. It's great that we're getting all these guys more opportunities and they're coming into the league way more clued in.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand the struggle that a lot of these schools are going through. And I look at Appalachian State, I look at Western Carolina, the ones that are close to us. I cannot imagine trying to do that year in, year out. Really more Western than App, because App's still an FBS school. And App is catching something on the opposite side that I never really – I'm not going to say I didn't expect it. I just didn't necessarily expect it to be to this level. Mm-hmm. Because the guys that go into the P4 and flame out, or they don't get snaps, or they bring in a transfer that takes their spot, or whatever the case may be, they're tending to land at Appalachian State. That's giving us a flood of guys that are in the 4th to 7th round that play at schools like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably as good as it's ever going to get. But it is still – it's a flawed, broken system. We have a super chat to get to before we go into the commercial break. And then we have another one.
Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
Adam Black, the resident pastor of the Sportsocracy, said, how soon do we see a super conference league? The different divisions should be based on a salary cap. That's a difficult question to answer, and I'll tell you why. You have a lot of entities that are clawing and fighting and praying and all of those things to keep their seat at the table, and they don't want to cede to that. And we're still under this guise that the NCAA has any power whatsoever. They don't.
Mm-mm.
When will that happen? When all of the power brokers figure that out. When the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Alabamas, the LSUs, when they all figure out the NCAA is not here to help us, that's when it'll happen. Because they'll come together and go, remind me again what we need them for. They need us. I don't really understand what it is we need with them.
But you have to make sure that everybody believes that. That's the problem. Like the NCAA at its core only exists at the service of the members, and the members are the schools. They created it. They can take it down. The problem is you got to have everybody do it at once. Right? You got to organize. And
what's your definition of everybody?
There are a lot of clingers. You got to have all the votes. It's got to be unanimous. You have to have all of the pieces in place to create that separation.
Yeah, this is one of those.
I don't know that you can get everybody to agree on the same parameters to do it.
This is one of those times that I feel very sure that you've never dealt with a union, because you don't need everybody. You need the money. You don't need the votes. Because you got to understand, I hate to say this because we're very close to the school. The vote from Appalachian State and the vote from Ohio State, they don't count the same.
No, they don't. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about everybody within the framework of the Super League, right? Because that's what we're all talking about. Is when's the SEC and the Big Ten going to finally sop up the remainings of the plate here? And pick up Florida State and a Clemson, and you get the remaining big brands, and we go, okay, this is done. We're creating our own thing because the NCAA doesn't serve us anymore. I can't. That's what I'm talking about. You got to get that entire group together, and who makes that play?
Okay,
right? Are you taking Notre Dame with you, or is Notre Dame loyal to the NCAA because that's the old school organization? Like, you got to have everybody play ball here.
What's happening behind closed doors right now is they're trying to figure out in terms of playing because at this point we're playing musical chairs.
Mm-hmm.
If you take yourself out of the discussion, like I'll use the example you gave, Notre Dame. If Notre Dame takes themselves out of the discussion, it doesn't change anything. It changes absolutely nothing for the high-end guys. We don't care if you're here or not. We don't care if Florida State's here or not. We don't care if Clemson's here or not. We'll do it with you or without you. When the crux point is going to happen is when something would benefit the highest of the high. The Ohio States, the LSUs, the Alabamas.
Mm-hmm.
And the NCAA tries to protect that middle tier. That's when this is going to break. When the big boys get burned, and it hasn't happened, and if you look at every vote, it's not hard to figure out. They're protecting the big boys. Well, we got a group of 5 school in the playoff. Yep, 1 of 12.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the expense of that was? There's no limit on how many SEC schools and Big Ten schools can get in this thing. They'll give you your 1 bid to make sure they can still get 5.
Yep.
The day that you get your 1 and you put a cap on me at 3, that's the day the dam is at critical mass.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody will start looking at all of the entities going, you're with me or you're against me.
Yep.
And we'll figure out how many seats there are on this boat because we don't know. Vanderbilt, I hate to tell you, you're probably not getting a seat on this boat.
Right.
SMU, they're trying to buy their seat on the boat.
Uh-huh.
Texas Tech's trying to buy their seat on the boat.
Uh-huh.
And it is not hard to figure out when you dive deep into this and you start seeing weird schools that you've never seen spend money like this before. They're trying to tell the power brokers, we're one of you.
Yeah, we're in.
Texas Tech, we have oil money. SMU, we're in Dallas. And notice where geographically all these schools are located.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them in Texas that are going, don't forget us. Houston, hey, we're still here too. We might still not be real good at this, but we got the money to hang out with you boys and be 38 of 38.
Yep.
Because I'd rather be the worst team up there than the best team down here.
No doubt about it. Victor Shelton in the YouTube comments says, group of 5 schools should have a playoff amongst themselves. People would bet on it, and TV people would pay for it. Maybe.
I actually think that's how this goes. I'm glad he said that.
It might sell, but I don't know how much it would sell. I mean, how much does the FCS playoffs sell?
It gets more handle than you think in terms of betting.
Okay, yeah, in terms of betting, I get it, but I'm talking about as far as like a TV contract. Somebody paying big money for that?
It draws like $1 million and change for the FCS title game.
Yeah,
but I mean, the group of 5 in theory would be bigger than that.
I don't know that it would though. I mean, would people care more about Boise State against San Diego State, or they're in the same conference, but I guess they could play for the national championship in a tournament. I don't know. Are you tuning in more for that or North Dakota and Montana?
I think you're missing two things about that. Way more people went to San Diego State than went to North Dakota State.
Sure.
Way more people are from San Diego than are from whatever city in North Dakota that North Dakota State's at. You're talking about bigger cities. You're talking about bigger entities. You're talking about bigger brands. I'm not saying it's going to be huge.
Right.
That's what Vic Shelton said. That's how I think this goes. I think the group of fives and some of that bottom tier of the P4 are going to get left behind. Oregon State and Washington State have lived in limbo for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's not crazy money there. There's money there that makes what North Dakota State has look like Oliver Twist begging for a second pot of porridge.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just gonna fade away. I believe that is how this goes. I've always called it the FAS. You're going to get a division that is above you, and we're going to let the rest of you fight out for all the rest of this. The question is, what are we taking with us? Are we taking the Rose Bowl with us? Are we taking the Peach Bowl with us? Are we taking the Fiesta Bowl with us? Because we have the power to do that.
Yes.
We have the lawyers. We have the money. You don't. And we will beat you.
Yes. Group of 5 championships, y'all can have the Yankee Pinstripe Bowl.
Which, by the way, that's the solution.
The
you
Bad
make
Boy
those bowls
Mowers
actually
Bowl.
mean something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm coming at this from a business standpoint of New Era sponsored the Fenway Bowl and I believe it was the Fenway Bowl and the Yankee Pinstripe Bowl.
Yep.
They sponsored that for years. How much longer are you going to keep going to them saying, well, it went up $250,000 this year, before they go, but why did it go up $250,000? Your viewership's gone down and down and down and down every single year. Why am I paying more now than I did before?
Mm-hmm.
And that's another part of this. When the business dam breaks, it's going to get ugly. And it's going to get ugly in a hurry. The question is, how far away are we from that? And without knowing how impatient I always look at LSU. Because LSU prints money. And the day they get burned, I feel like they're going to be one of the ones that goes, why are we doing this? Why are we seeding money to Vanderbilt and Missouri? And why are we doing this? And then it gets really contentious for a while, and we just hope it doesn't break college football.
Right. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. When we come back, we'll get just a bit outside.
In Asheville, your mountain weather forecast.
Partly sunny sky.
You're clear.
Here this afternoon, a slight chance for a shower or storm here this afternoon.
You still sound echoey, like we're picking up more than one source.
You're not.
Partly sunny skies again tomorrow. Not quite as warm, upper 60s to around 70 Saturday afternoon. And a chance of showers heading through Saturday night and Sunday, otherwise mostly cloudy skies. High Sunday afternoon, upper part of the 60s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm.
Get big summer flavor in every bite with the new DQ Summer Blizzard Treat menu. Featuring new mixing bowl mashup, fan-voted s'mores, and more. For a limited time right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. At participating locations.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
all about the presets.
That is the best new feature. It's like a car radio right on the app.
There's a list of what's trending. There's all the podcasts.
I love it.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio.
I'm Coley Duffy.
I'm Cody Ward.
And
we're the Chainsaw Brothers.
Actually, we're cousins. A few days after Helene, we was in the driveway having a couple beers, waiting on the power to come back on. And we heard so many people calling, needing trees removed, and couldn't afford it.
So I called my dad to borrow a chainsaw, and over the next few months, we cleared trees for our neighbors. Our business was born out of wanting to help Western North Carolina get back on our feet.
We are fully insured and licensed. We keep our promises, meaning if we say we're going to be there, we'll be there. In these parts, we live how we were raised.
When you call the Chainsaw Brothers, you're not a customer, you're family. We're good at what we do, and we do it for a reasonable cost.
For all your chainsaw needs, call the Chainsaw Brothers. 828-316-1013. Or find us on Facebook. See how we treat our family.
Are you still covered up with storm damage and debris?
Call us about our daily rates at 828-316-1013. That's 828-316-1013. We're the Chainsaw Brothers, and with our neighbors, we are Western North Carolina strong.
Woohoo!
This is J.W. Whitley, General Manager at Parks Ford of Hendersonville, introducing you to this month's Parks Community Heroes, Corey and Kristen Short and the entire team at Silverados, who converted their music venue in Black Mountain into a donation and distribution zone in the wake of Hurricane Helene. Corey and his team...
Same.
I don't... There's no other mic. There's literally not another mic connected to the computer now.
Nominate your Parks Community Hero at parkscommunityheroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at Parks Ford
deleted every other
Hendersonville.com.
input on this computer.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
We're back in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. And look, it really didn't have to be that hard. Picking a number in the NFL shouldn't have to be this hard. Abdul Carter finally figured it out. He finally found the scenario where, oh wait, I don't have to steal someone else's number. I can use my own. He's decided to pick number 51. And all it took was a little creative thinking. He thought about being 56, but that was Lawrence Taylor, and why? It's my number. He wanted to use 11, but that was Phil Simms. So now he's going to be 51. Just 5 and 1. See, it doesn't have to be that hard. Now you find a number that matters to you, that you can make famous, and you don't have to try to ride coattails.
I still want my number. I still want my number. I don't care that Phil Simms wore it 40 years ago. I don't care. Phil Simms is 80 years old. He's already had he's actually already had 2 really disappointing sons come through the NFL. I don't care.
But who are you?
Number 2
That's
picking
the
the draft.
thing.
Number 3 picking the draft.
You don't come into the NBA and expect to be number 23 for the Chicago Bulls. It's not going to happen. I'm not giving you that number.
You're comparing Phil Simms to Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that one more time, and I'm going to give you a chance to unwind what you just said. You're comparing Phil Simms to the greatest player that ever played basketball.
I have my number retired by the team. That was not my number that I made famous. They enshrined it. They said, you are a symbol of this franchise forever. Am I saying Phil Simms is the greatest player of all time? No, that's not the comparison I'm making here. The comparison I'm making is the number's retired. Who the hell do you think you are?
You also unretired your number 1 pick last year, and he went at 5.
And that was the response from Lawrence Taylor of, no, man, that's my number. You go make your own legacy. I made mine in 56, and this team went, nobody gets to wear that anymore. That's how great I was.
Oh, and Lawrence Taylor, I had no problem with Lawrence. Notice I did not say that name. I had no problem with Lawrence Taylor telling him to go pound sand.
Phil Simms thinking that his number being retired means the same as Lawrence Taylor's number being retired.
Lawrence Taylor and Derek Thomas are the 2 greatest defensive players I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Simms is not the best New York Giants quarterback I've ever seen. So, yes, there is a difference. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure Phil Simms is the 2nd best New York Giants quarterback I've ever seen. So, yes, there is a difference. To me, that's just one of those where the Giants should have.
Who would that be?
Well, Eli was one. Oh, what stupid name can I say here? Just to really diminish Phil a little bit. Kurt Warner. Boom.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've always said Phil Simms might be. Phil Simms is the New York Giants version of Joe Namath to the New York Jets.
Sure. I mean, he was good. He was the face of the franchise. Won Super Bowls.
It doesn't take much for you just. When you scratch that card, it doesn't take you but one sniff to go, oh, that's poop. Oh God, that's poop. I didn't want to sniff that. Why did you put that on this card?
I'm not saying Phil's right for it. I mean, I probably, I could have been like, yeah, okay, you can wear my number too, right? We're continuing a tradition, but I also kind of come from that North Carolina school of all of our point guards have to wear number 5, like all the great ones. They get that number. The number means something, like number 11 at Penn State. I get it. It sucks that you couldn't have your number, but it felt like this took a really long time to figure out. Like it could have just been phone call to Lawrence. No? Okay. Can I have 11, Phil? No? Okay, crap.
Well, Phil said yes at first, and then his family said no. I think that even ruffled my feathers more is that Phil went, yeah, I'm good. And his family went, well, I don't think you should do that, which to me, it was just Chris going, well, Dad, I don't think you should do that. Because if your number's not retired from the Giants, then I'm just a guy that doesn't know how to evaluate quarterbacks that almost got killed and got into a fight with John Gruden. I'm going to see Chris Simms at an event one day. He's going to punch me in the face.
He's just punch you square in the nose.
And then he's going to pull his hand back and go, oh, God, he's a drunk. Like, he doesn't feel things. Oh, that was not smart. I should not have done that. And I'm just going to laugh.
Hey, how's that spleen doing? Gonna be okay?
Oh, shoot.
Remember, I had high hopes for Chris Simms for about 2 seconds.
And then...
oh, wait, no, he's not good at football. Damn it.
And then...
did it again.
Didn't.
We did it again.
Speaking of family members ruining your life, my story's about Bill Belichick. His girlfriend has been a topic of conversation again today. Pablo Torre made a report this morning. Said higher-ups at the University of North Carolina made the decision to ban Jordan Hudson from the football field and the football building at the University of North Carolina. And I'm not going to lie to you. I woke up this morning, I saw that story, and I went, yay! It can go away now. And then it didn't. A press release from the University of North Carolina, or a statement from the University of North Carolina. While Jordan Hudson is not an employee at the university or Carolina Athletics, she is welcome to the Carolina football facilities. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of his responsibilities for Carolina football and the university, which was just basically, Pablo, okay, we hadn't told Bill yet, and he was mad.
We had an agreement. We had an agreement that we were gonna make this an easy transition, and we were just gonna kind of phase into, okay, she's not hanging around anymore. This is awesome.
We were gonna talk to him after his nap.
I mean, who thought that was gonna be a good idea, that you could just go down to Bill Belichick and be like, hey, Bill, your girlfriend's not allowed to come around here anymore. And he goes,
I would kill.
Excuse me, come again for Judge Fudge.
I would kill to have heard how that discussion went. Tank, would you like to do a reenactment?
Hi, Bill. So we've been kicking around some ideas here, and we think that maybe it would be a good idea that Jordan, she work from home. We think that would be a good idea. Maybe she's not, look, she's important to what we do here. We love the spirit, but maybe that stays at home. Can we get her to work remotely?
Let me ask you a question. What's your name?
My name is...
It doesn't matter what your name is. You know what? It's not Bill Belichick.
Right.
You see this hand, son? It's got more rings on it than you got knuckles. Get out of my face. If I want my hot little 24-year-old girlfriend to be here, I'll make her the head of the cheerleading team, you worthless twerp. Get out of my face. That's how that went.
Probably.
And Bill channeled his inner Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and I'm not going to lie, you walked right into it, and I loved every second of it.
No, I think it's more I imagine this to be more like diabolical, though. Like Bill Belichick sitting back with the ring on his finger, and, he's playing with it with the other hand, and he just – Robert Kraft never told me who I could have in my building.
See, now I've got a vision of him in like the Bond villain chair, and he's got a big fuzzy white cat, and he's like, listen here, son. Who do you think leaked it to the press that Bob Kraft likes to go over the pants handies at the day spa? That was the last person that tried to tell me no.
Dirtiest player in the game. Ric Flair ain't got nothing on Bill Belichick.
And that was the greatest owner in NFL history.
Right.
You're just a peon. We have a couple super chats to hit before we get into the commercial break.
We don't have time. All
right, we'll do them at the top of the next hour. Then.
Yes. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
ESPN Asheville.
We missed the boat on that one.
Sweet.
Partly
Sorry,
we
were recreating Bill Belichick telling people to go falafel themselves.
I like it.
Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, middle to upper 40s. Partly
Please tell me
you
didn't see that
Not
coming.
quite as warm, upper 60s to around 70 Saturday afternoon.
I didn't see what.
When I said, what's your name,
and
son?
Sunday, otherwise mostly
Please
cloudy
tell
skies,
me you didn't know what I was
Sunday
getting ready to say.
I
right
did
there.
not. I did not know what you were
I'd set that whole
Just
joke up
Ken
perfectly.
at the Weather Channel.
Now I feel like
report
Bill
is
Belichick
sponsored
just
by
sitting here
Dairy
petting the
Queen.
fuzzy cat going, good.
Get big summer flavor in every bite with the new DQ Summer Blizzard Treat menu. Featuring new mixing bowl mashup, fan-voted s'mores, and more. For a limited time, right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. At participating locations.
How do you spot the all-new Nissan Rogue Rock Creek? Here's a hint. It's got all-terrain tires, a tubular roof rack you can't miss.
I guarantee you my wife's in her office right now going, what is that idiot doing now?
In its natural habitat, climbing mountains, attacking rugged trails, and never backing down from any adventure. The first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
Intelligent all-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Always secure cargo. Heavy loading of the vehicle with cargo, especially on the roof, will affect the handling and stability of the vehicle.
Find mom's best gift at Target. Now through Mother's Day, get up to 40% off gifts for her. Discover trendy apparel and swimwear that'll elevate any wardrobe. Jewelry that'll make her smile shine brighter, and even chocolate that'll turn any moment into something sweeter. There are endless options to choose from to show her she's the best. Hurry! Save 20 to 40% on select apparel, jewelry, chocolates, and more this Mother's Day only at Target. Restrictions apply.
Here's comedian Howie Mandel for hands-free Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins.
Yeah, I'm holding a new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-in sneaker, and first of all, I barely know I'm holding it. It's that light. You see, Cozy Fit is a cool new sneaker where the upper is made of a soft quilted material. It's kind of like a little puffer jacket for your feet, except
yeah. All right, so we'll clean up all of the super chats because we ran aggressively over in that last hour.
You can find Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store.
Yes, sir.
Or wherever stylish.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question.
Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile.
Okay.
So if there was a
rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
on it.
For more information about contests on this station, go to ESPNAVL.com. Did
all Sportsocracy.
Did you clean the can?
Oh, I'm not going to drink it out of the can. I'm going to drink it in my Yeti
they've
cup.
got the balls. Bears famous.
Still would clean the can before you pour anything out of it.
And topped with
so you don't get gas in your drink.
I'm more thinking did
be safe.
Did the aluminum protect it from
Mr. Jimmy's Barbecue Blues
being absorbed?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Asheville.
Here's the thing: drinking a little gasoline. # built different. Let's go.
We're
I'll be right
proud
back.
to be the number.
It's actual jet fuel.
County. Give us a call, 828-774-6343. We're here for what matters most, you.
Mountain Graphics and Showtime Sports have teamed up under a new local owner to serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Mountain Graphics and Showtime Sports can customize whatever you, your team, or your local group may need with high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving. Visit mtngraphicsavl.com or showtimesportsavl.com. That's mtngraphicsavl.com or showtimesportsavl.com for your local one-stop custom apparel shops.
Welcome to the Ingalls Table, a delicious destination with recipes galore. Need to whip up a dessert, entree, side dish? No problem. The experts from the Ingalls Table take you through it step by step with expert tips and advice along the way. Find the Ingalls Table at ingalls-markets.com or swing by the store and pick up your free copy of the Ingalls Table magazine. And let's get cooking. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
From the Ingalls studio, WPEK Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, W225CJ Candler, the #1 preset in your car, and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Greene. That's Greene. Enter it now.
Go to ESPNAVL.com to play, and good luck.
The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingalls studio.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. Happy Friday to you. Coming to you from the Ingalls studio. Sportsocracy. We're heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app. And seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link. Subscribe to the channel. Join us in the chat this Friday afternoon. We've got business to attend to as we'll discuss the NFL's least improved teams over the offseason.
I don't think it's going to take long before we talk about my team, Tank.
The Jets going jet, even in the offseason.
I mean, just a couple years ago, I was looking at a team that had Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and now I have Justin Fields and Alan Lizard. Oh, shoot.
For now, until he gets traded.
If that's evolution, next year our starting quarterback's going to be Baker Mayfield throwing to Gabe Davis. That was the first two names off the top of my head, and I feel pretty good about it.
Not good.
God, the Jets are. I just thought the Jets are probably going to sign Gabe Davis now.
Right.
We'll give you $10 million to catch 11 balls next year.
NFL's least improved teams coming up in just a few moments, but we do have some super chats that we didn't get to in the first hour because, well, we go down the rabbit holes.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Oh, you were expecting me to do that, weren't you?
Go ahead there, Jeremy. You got the.
I don't though.
I thought you had the list.
I did, but I don't now. What is happening?
I guess Great North Sports would be the first one up here. He just throwing in some payment for Jeremy, saying that the Pats were most improved, or among the most improved.
He then gifted 10 Sportsocracy memberships, and we thank him greatly for that.
Yes, indeed. All right, then
we have. Oh, hold on. We have one more that you missed before that.
Okay. Oh, did I? Okay.
Yep.
See, that's why I wanted you to handle that because you're better at multitasking than I am.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Yes, but it did involve me scrolling all the way back up to the top because we missed it from early. It's from our buddy Soaring Eagle. Said, I don't know about you, but given who God chose yesterday, I'm ready to bet my house on the Bears to be Super Bowl 60 champions. Hit the button. Please tell me you still have the Pope Watch button.
Hang on. I think I do. No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't have it open.
Man, if I had only given you more than 30 milliseconds of a heads up there, then that would have been really
exactly,
funny.
Like if we had only planned that to do Pope Watch again. I didn't see that. Sorry, I missed the super chatter. I might have thought of that ahead of time.
Sorry, I've been trying to figure out whether the monster I'm actively drinking is going to kill me or not.
Yeah, the only thing better than Pope Pizza Balla is a Pope from America. So I'm all good with it.
I'm just upset that he didn't call himself Pope America. What's your name? Pope America. Coming along.
Okay, the president's going to make him change his name anyway. It's going to be fun.
He's going to be Pope
Bald Eagle.
Pope Freedom. That's his name. Don't screw with me. I am not to be trifled with.
All right, let's get along this.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
His super chat says, I like the idea of not retiring, but rather reserving certain numbers. You want 56, prove yourself in a different number, then get 56. And see
that
jersey
so
sales
much.
Skyrocket.
That's
That's not bad.
So
That's not a bad plan.
That's the LeBroning. That's the LeBroning, where I'm going to change my number and I'm going to change it back and watch me sell 50 gajillion jerseys. That's one of the smarter things that anybody has ever said on this show.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah, you want 11? Cool. Phil Simms agreed to it, but you got to have 10 sacks the first 3 years in the league, and then you can wear 11 all you want to. Oh, yeah. That takes every potential objection away. Mm-hmm. Because now you deserve to. That's so good. That's so good. I'd never even thought of that.
That's where I've always been with this. But you don't deserve that number. That number's special to us. Like, from a fan standpoint, from a franchise standpoint, that number's important. That's why we did that. That's why we honored him in that way. You don't get to infringe on that.
Lawrence Taylor, I'll agree with you. I still kick back on Phil Simms.
Well, look.
Stop retiring numbers that don't deserve to be retired, and this won't be a problem.
Same thing with Namath?
Namath is the best player in Jets history. That's just how bad we are. It's Joe Namath and Curtis Martin and Darrell Revis.
So? But he wasn't great.
He was a great character. He is the face of the New York Jets. The only comparison I will even allow you to make between Joe Namath and Phil Simms is that they both played quarterback in New York. Phil was a mediocre radio guy. Joe Namath wore mink coats and was hooking up with Marilyn Monroe. These two are not built the same.
Careers were pretty similar, weren't they?
No.
I mean,
do I need to revisit the Marilyn Monroe thing? Because I will.
Would be better. Do what?
I said, do I need to revisit the Marilyn Monroe thing? Because I will.
That doesn't matter, though.
It does
That's
matter.
Not what we're talking about.
It 100% matters.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I got news for you. You know what's in Bill Belichick's resume? You know what's 3? 24-year-old Miss Maine. Hate to tell you, it's the truth. His Wikipedia, you will never be able to tell that story without going, coffee was for closers, and I took mine with 2 creams.
Stop that.
Nobody cares? Ask any dude you know over 50 years old. But you got to ask him away from his wife.
Yeah, okay.
I hated Bill Belichick for many years.
Cool guy.
I look at him now and just every time I see his face, I just want to go, 5s. Game respects game, sir, and your game. And I was not aware of your game.
And there you have it. All right. Anyway, do we have any more super chats that we need to get to here?
I don't think so. Although, if you want to keep saying things that lead into funny, it's Friday, so it's a funny Friday. There's no telling what I'm going to say today.
It's definitely not about Bill Belichick and his relationship. It's definitely not what we want to talk about. What we want to talk about on the program today is
I could do 2 hours of jokes on this for sure.
I don't think so. I'm not interested. Least improved teams from the NFL draft. I mean, who absolutely just blew it? I mean, I guess the San Francisco 49ers have to be on this list.
They're my
Didn't
one.
they have one of the worst grades?
They're my one. Because this is not just from the draft, it's from the offseason.
Yes.
The San Francisco 49ers. I mean, I don't know what I'm missing here. How do you look at this roster and go, yeah, they're going to be awesome? Can you explain that? Can you even play devil's advocate on that? Your secondary is awful.
You have to spin yourself into the hope of Brock Purdy, the hope that Brandon Ayuk can be a number one wide receiver, the hope that Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy.
Okay, so let's say all those things happen. Just and I know what you're trying to do, and I appreciate you trying to play the devil's advocate like I
absolutely. Because that's what everybody's doing right now of going, well, I mean, it could work.
Your line's still bad, fact or fiction?
I think that's a fact.
Your line's still bad. All right, and even let's say I go rose-colored glasses. It's average at best.
Mm-hmm.
How on this planet do you look at me and tell me that defense is going to be anything above mediocre at best? You're starting Kevin Givens and Jordan Elliott at defensive tackle. Best case scenario, your two rookies come in, C.J. West and Alfred Collins. C.J. West that's playing out of position. Alfred Collins that had no production to speak of.
Mm.
That was your, hey, we fixed it. This team is not good. And I keep looking at that 10.5 wins thing going, if I'm missing it aggressively. And I'm not going to understand it until I watch it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the schedule plays into that a lot because this is a team that is viewed as they are Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFC. Like they're not going to be terrible. They've got talent on this team that will keep them afloat on even a tough schedule. Kyle Shanahan gets that kind of benefit of the doubt as he's a good enough coach to lead this team with some view as elite quarterback. Many don't. We get it, but he is a guy that's going to get paid, and he is quote unquote a franchise quarterback.
Well, and he's still cheap for this year.
Good. Right, he can be really good. Maybe not. They got to make a big decision on him.
All right.
You still have Christian McCaffrey, who's a good weapon. Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. Like you got pieces on this team that will keep them afloat even against a tough schedule. And then you hand them the easiest schedule in the league, and I think that's where that comes into play. Of they may not be a great team, but this is still a team that probably can win 10 wins if everything goes perfectly.
I can't get to 10 with everything going perfectly. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the opponents on my screen right now. So I'll just chalk up, let's say you go 3-3 in the division. I don't think there's a snowball's chance in Atlanta that you do, but let's just say you do. I'll give you the Giants and the Saints. I'll give you the Jaguars and the Titans. I'm at 7. Do you know who the other games on this schedule are?
Who's that?
The Falcons, Panthers, and Bears at home. I'm not ready to give you the Panthers, but let's say I did. You're not beating the Falcons at home. You're not beating the Bears at home. You got the Browns.
Those are all winnable games.
You believe in this roster way more than I do.
No, I believe less in those other teams than you do.
You're not incorrect.
Right.
You play the Texans, the Buccaneers on the road. You play the Colts on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're winning any game I just said. But let's say I give you
not
the
even
Colts.
The Colts?
Let's say I give you the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're talking about a team that has Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, and you're trotting out Kevin Givens and Jordan Elliott playing defensive tackle. They may run for 400 yards on you. And you may see the ball for a grand total of 8 minutes, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least. But let's say I give you the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I give you the Browns. I gave you a lot of things that I didn't want to give you. I only got to 10. That's only 10. And I don't see a prayer of you doing probably half of the things I just said. Because you're not better than the Cardinals. You're not better than the Rams. You're not better than the Seahawks.
Nope.
You could go 0-6 in your division, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. I just don't think his team's any good.
Yeah.
And the more you heap on Brock Purdy, the more you're going to see. A, he's not an elite quarterback. B, he's not a franchise quarterback. I'm not even sure he's a good one. I think he is a league average NFL quarterback. Stephen Tao said you're using Anthony Richardson as a plus for the Colts in this argument. Yes, because you have two guys that are probably less equipped to stop the run than me, and all Anthony Richardson knows how to do is run.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco against a run-first team, good luck. Bijan Robinson may run for 500 yards on you. And your linebackers, I forgot to mention that. You have two linebackers that are both sub 6 foot tall. Because Nick Martin and D. Winters are both under 6 feet tall. But they run really fast. Awesome. Wait till they see Bijan Robinson in a hole, and you'll understand why this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Oh, but surely we got somebody on the backside. Malik Mustafa just got hurt. It's probably done for the year. You're going to be playing a converted cornerback at safety, and Jair Brown is undersized. I'm just telling you, there's nobody. I have never seen somebody that I think is as football smart as John Lynch build a roster that makes this little sense.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on the team's undersized, outside of Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. That's it. It doesn't make a lick of sense. And the only thing I can figure is that they have drank the Kool-Aid on how smart their defensive system is for so long that now it's finally catching up to you. Because for years, it was like there were certain guys that I could look at in the scouting process and go, that dude's going to be a 49er. Nick Martin would have been one of them. D. Winters was one of them. And I just did this every single year. He's going to wind up with the Jets, the Texans, or the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing that nobody wants to talk about with San Francisco. You know what you don't have in common anymore with the Houston Texans and the New York Jets?
What's that?
They have way more pass rushers than you do. Their secondary is way better than yours. They both have elite corners in Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley. Can you name me the number one corner for the San Francisco 49ers right now?
The Amador Lenore.
He's the nickel. This is the way it's listed right now. I can't tell you it's going to stay that way because I think Lenore would play probably on the outside and Renardo Greene would play in the slot, but I could be wrong on that.
Okay.
The other one's Trey Brown. I'll bet you've never even heard of the other guys I'm going to say here. Trey Avery, Trey Tomlinson, Chase Lucas, Upton Stout, Darrell Luter Jr. It's a bunch of guys that wouldn't make another roster in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Because the vast majority of the guys I just said, outside of Stout and probably Tomlinson, although he was a free agent, or he was waived and you were the only team that claimed him, so I guess he kind of falls into that too. It just doesn't make any sense. And this is a great time for me to point out, and I waited 17 minutes here to say this. I've been right on San Francisco for years. Over and over and over and over again. I have said things about San Francisco, and people go, "You're stupid." And I just keep being right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not wrong this time either.
And you think San Francisco is going to be one of the worst teams in the league? How high are they picking next year?
And that's the funny thing is I think your schedule is you have so many winnable games that you'll find a way to do what the Pittsburgh Steelers do, and you'll go 8-9 or 9-8.
Mm-hmm.
You'll pay Brock Purdy, and then next year you're paying him $50 million, and the roster that you have in place now will be light years ahead of what you are next year. Because once you pay him, all of these little toys have to go away because you don't have the money. You don't draft well enough. So you've got all these guys that you overdrafted that don't make a damn lick of sense. I mean, I'm just saying this from the element of a draft guy. That's the reason I've been so convinced on San Francisco for so long. You can't draft this poorly and continue to succeed.
Right.
It's like running up debt on credit cards. If you've got $25,000 in credit limit, that's great. You can ball on a budget for a long time. But when those credit limits go away, we're going to figure out that you're broke. And then the interest payments start racking up. And now you're not just broke, you're in gross debt. They're in gross debt.
Mm-hmm.
They have the highest paid running back in the NFL, or second highest paid running back in the NFL. They have one of the most overpaid wide receivers in the NFL in Brandon Ayuk. George Kittle's 31 years old. And they're about to have the most overpaid quarterback in the NFL. That's not a recipe for long-term success. Meanwhile, you're drafting guys in the second and third round that belong in the fifth and sixth, and you've been doing it for years. This is Bill Belichick all over again. You've bought your own press clippings. You think you're way smarter than everybody else, and you're not. And now it's catching up to you.
Mm-hmm. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, the least improved teams over the offseason here in the NFL, the run-up to the 2026 NFL season. Back on the practice field today, by the way, in case you didn't know. Rookie mini camps taking place across the league. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is the story of the one.
And we're clear.
Manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
How do you spot the all-new Nissan Rogue Rock Creek? Here's a hint. It's got all-terrain tires, a tubular roof rack you can't miss, and it's tough inside and out with lava red detail. You'll also find it in its natural habitat, climbing mountains, attacking rugged trails, and never backing down from any adventure. The first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
Intelligent all-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Always secure cargo. Heavy loading of the vehicle with cargo, especially on the roof, will affect the handling and stability of the vehicle.
News has never been so important.
We've got breaking news from Capitol Hill.
And iHeart makes it so easy to stay in the know with 24/7 news on iHeartRadio.
A major breakthrough in medical research.
Live around the clock, so you're never more than 3 minutes away from the stories that matter most.
Extreme weather is impacting millions.
24/7 news, right at your fingertips with the free iHeart app, where you can now make 24/7 news a preset for even quicker access. 24/7 news on iHeartRadio.
Looking to buy or sell in Western North Carolina? At Clarissa Sells WNC, we're proud to be the #1 real estate team in Buncombe County, selling over 100 homes in 2024. We represent both buyers and sellers, and with a personalized approach to meet your needs.
At Clarissa Sells WNC, real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. Call me today, Clarissa Marshall, at 828-774-6343. When it comes to real estate, we're here for what matters most, you.
Wheels for Meals of Western North Carolina is doing it again. Their next car show for a cause is coming up Saturday, May 24th. Cars Against Breast Cancer at the Advanced Auto Parts in Oakley Plaza, 801 Fairview Road. It'll be an afternoon of family-friendly fun with a 50-50 and raffle prizes, including a PS5 and the grand prize, a week in a condo in Myrtle Beach, Tennessee, or Virginia. There'll be live music, face painting, and games. Still with me? Join Wheels for Meals, Western North Carolina. Just checking. 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, May the 24th at Oakley Plaza.
This is J.W. Whitley, General Manager at Parks Ford of Hendersonville. I would like to introduce you to some of our very own Parks community heroes, like Eric, who hosted the football team to support their neighbors and begin the cleanup efforts, like Jeff and Chris, who led a fleet of Ford commercial vehicles throughout the night, delivering supplies with emergency services to all corners of the county and first responders. Nominate your community hero at parkscommunityheroes.com. That's parkscommunityheroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
Back in the Sportsocracy, ESPN Asheville. Happy Friday. Hey, don't forget the moms this weekend, Mother's Day on Sunday. Everybody knows. Just so we're clear. We all know what the last-ditch effort is. Ingles Supermarkets, low prices, love the savings.
Oh, it's not last day. This is where I started.
Flowers and a card always works. If you didn't plan and you're going, oh, God, what do I do? There you go.
I got some beautiful flowers for my wife at Ingles just the other day.
Absolutely. Saved me on more than one occasion. So,
and there are a million very convenient locations, no matter where you are in Western North Carolina or the surrounding states.
And that, my friends, is a good pitch. All right, the least improved teams in the NFL over this offseason, San Francisco, high among others. Next.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. Could you tell me what this team does well at this point? I'm being serious.
Well, I mean, we rush the passer well, don't we?
If T.J. Watt can stay healthy.
Sure.
Because with Alex Highsmith by himself, I'm not so sure that you do.
Well, I mean, he's
fine. He's a great two.
Mm-hmm.
So you have two really good edge rushers. Then what? Your secondary ain't good?
Got a good tight end.
Among qualifying tight ends last year, where did he rank?
Pat Freiermouth?
Yeah.
I don't know. 14.
24th.
Really?
Your receivers any good? Honestly?
No. Well, no.
It's DK Metcalf and a bunch of dudes. So basically, you traded out one crazy diva wide receiver for another one, and you got 4 years older and more expensive.
Yes.
You currently don't have a quarterback. So here's my question. If Aaron Rodgers just does what Aaron Rodgers does, and he goes out with a clown and a coyote and a shaman, and he gets high out in the woods and he sees the face of Art Rooney, and it says, "I don't want you playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers." What do you do now? I mean, I get it. You think this is a foregone conclusion. I'll just tell you, as a guy that he ran roughshod through my team for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do if he doesn't show up? And you have to roll out Mason Rudolph with a rookie running back, Caleb Johnson, behind a line that I'll say it leaves a lot to be desired. You're counting on your ability to draft offensive linemen really highly. You have no receivers and no quarterback. Oh, and by the way, your secondary is terrible.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't care about scoring points, though. Scoring points isn't important. It's all about limiting the other team from scoring. Because I mean, that's the only thing that they've been able to try to hang their hat on over the last couple of years. Because they haven't been an offensive force since Ben was there.
All right, I'm gonna make it. I love analogies. Tank, I'm an analogy man. My chair just almost broke. I don't know what just happened, but I almost went kersploosh right on the YouTube stream. And there was a moment there where you could have screen grabbed my face, and it would have been the excrement look of the day.
That'd have been quite funny.
I'm sure it was for anybody that saw it.
Yeah, yep. Just rewound
and Tank just saw it.
That's good.
The best analogy I have for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. They're the sad, lonely guy that's sitting at a Waffle House at 11:30, watching the cook smoke heaters and listening to the waitress talk about her double wide, praying to God that Callie Cankle shows up. Because if she doesn't, you're all by yourself. And you're just a sad, depressed guy drinking a cup of coffee in a Waffle House at 11:30 at night.
Mm-hmm.
Because I hate to tell you this, the Aaron Rodgers you're getting is not the Aaron Rodgers you think you're getting. Because what I'm looking at is an offensive line that, yes, is very mobile. You have some athletic freaks on that line. Aaron Rodgers was average at best with Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Devontae Adams. What do you think he's going to be with DK Metcalf, Jaylen Warren, and Pat Freiermuth? Oh, and by the way, the Jets' defense is better than yours. Oh, I know that's tough to say to Steeler fans. It is. Watched it for many years. Talent for talent, it's better than yours. You have T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Cam Hayward. Alex Highsmith. And Minkah, a little overrated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you, this has a recipe for disaster written all over it, and they're still going to find some way to win 9 games. I don't know how they're going to do it. You managed to do it with $5 footlong Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you did that. By the way,
won 10 games with Kenny Pickett. They won 10 games with Russell Wilson. It just doesn't tend to matter. But the problem is, how long do we continue to do this? Right? They just signed him up again. They just signed Mike Tomlin to another contract extension.
Coaching extensions
I would think at this
squat.
point, do what?
Coaching extensions don't mean squat. You don't pay coaches enough for it to matter.
Yeah. Well,
the Jacksonville Jaguars just paid Gabriel Davis $19 million to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin's buyout would not be that much. And I'll be honest with you, I think there's a good chance that this is the year that it falls off the earth. And I had never thought of this until somebody pointed it out to me the other day. If you take away the fact that Mike Tomlin's never finished below 500, what does he really have? Like, we always talk about if Pittsburgh fired him, he would be somebody else's head coach in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
What's his selling point? If you take that record away,
culture.
He's almost become like the Undertaker.
I'm bringing a winning culture. We always have a winning season, or we never have a losing season.
But it's always one game over 500. You go into the playoffs and get slaughtered.
Yeah.
That's not a winning culture. That's an average culture. Oh, and by the way, you've had every diva receiver in the NFL for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you just seem to find them out of thin air. I don't know what to do with this team. I really don't.
I don't either.
Do you realize
that's what makes this the hardest call to me in the NFL? Because I feel like anywhere else it would matter. Right? Pittsburgh does things differently. How many coaches have they had since Reconstruction?
3.
2?
Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin.
Right.
I did not know what I'm getting ready to tell you.
City. Uh-huh.
So Mike Tomlin has been the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers since 2007.
Mm-hmm.
From 2007 to 2017, how many times was his winning percentage in a given season over 600?
Twice.
He did it 8 times, in 11 seasons. Okay. How many times has he done it since?
Once.
He's done it once in 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
That team was 12-4, and they got beat immediately in the playoffs and got embarrassed in the playoffs.
Yep.
Stephen Towle, he actually beat me to the punch of what I was going to say. He's Jeff Fisher.
Yes.
He's a guy that we respect really highly, and over time, the league figured him out.
Mm-hmm.
Because he will not adjust.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks doing this the Steeler way. I hate to tell you this. The Steeler way, it does not work anymore. It doesn't. Because you cannot keep these guys forever. And I did not realize how bad Pittsburgh had actually been drafting over the last handful of years. And so I look around now and go, yeah, you hit 1 or 2 guys a year, but you still have gigantic holes on this roster. You can't draft a corner to save your life. You can't draft a wide receiver to save your life. That's a recipe for immediate death where we are right now. The easiest 2 positions to find players are the 2 you can't find one to save your life. That's a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm.
I used to make fun of my Steeler fan friends that were going, we should fire Mike Tomlin. Because I thought they were insane. I have almost fully come to your side. I think you're right. I think he has gone stale. And basically the entire life cycle of Jeff Fisher, instead of having to bounce from the Titans to the Rams, you just did it in under the same roof.
Mm-hmm.
You're never the worst team in the league. You're never terrible. You almost have to be at some time because you're not getting high-level talent. So you're just this middling team that picks from 16 to 22 every single season. So you have a lot of good players, but and when I say good, I mean top half of the league. How many players do you have that are in the top 5 at their position? Honestly.
In Pittsburgh?
Yes.
1?
I would say TJ Watt's it. Zach Frazier is really close, but he's only on his second year in the league. And I would say Cam Hayward is still close as a 5-tech.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 of your 22 players are top 5 at their position. And I was being really generous with 2 of those. It's just, the atrophy happens every year. That's been the word of the week. Atrophy.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not infusing new talent, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. There is no sitting still in this because every year teams around you get better. They just stay so consistently who they are. And for me, that's the deadest spot you can be in the NFL. And now your saving grace is a 41-year-old quarterback that just washed out with the Jets.
Well, you hope.
Well, that's your saving grace, because if it's not him, it's Mason Rudolph. It's Mason Rudolph who couldn't beat out Will Levis, who Brian Callahan hated.
But somehow, he can be good enough to win 8 games. Maybe 9.
I don't think they can win 9 games with Mason Rudolph.
With the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Who else is in trouble after a dismal offseason? We'll get to more up next.
ESPN Asheville.
Clear.
Your mountain weather forecast.
Partly sunny skies and mild out here this afternoon. A slight chance for a shower or storm here this afternoon.
Yes.
70s. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, middle to upper 40s. Partly sunny skies again tomorrow. Not quite as warm, upper 60s to around 70 Saturday afternoon. And a chance of showers heading through Saturday night and Sunday, otherwise mostly cloudy skies. Highs Sunday afternoon. Upper part of the 60s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by
Bojangles. It's always bow time.
It's bow time. At Bojangles, we don't serve nuggets. We serve big, delicious, hand-breaded, crispy chicken tender bites that have real flavor. Order Bow Bites with your favorite.
I can hear you.
It's bow time.
Find mom's best gift at Target. Now through Mother's Day, get up to 40% off gifts for her. Discover trend.
Yes, sir.
That'll elevate any wardrobe. Jewelry that'll make her smile shine brighter, and even chocolate that'll turn any moment into something sweeter. There are endless options to choose from to show her she's the best. Hurry! Save 20 to 40% on select apparel, jewelry, chocolates, and more this Mother's Day only at Target. Restrictions apply.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platforms.
The new iHeart app just looks better.
The best feature of a car radio on the app.
It's the presets.
Super easy.
And thank you for keeping it free.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeart Radio app today.
This is J.W. Whitley, General Manager at Parks Ford of Hendersonville. I would like to introduce you to some of our very own Parks community heroes.
How about now?
Like Trent and Doug, whose first instinct was to fill their trucks with supplies and drive to the areas that were hardest hit in those first hours. Like Spencer, who helped build a bridge out of debris to rescue 7 families after the road was washed away. Nominate your Parks Community Hero today at parkscommunityheroes.com. That's parkscommunityheroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com.
Looking to buy or sell in Asheville? At Clarissa Sells WNC with eXp Realty, we're
Are
proud
you
to
in
be
this
the number
world?
1 real estate team in Buncombe County. Give us a call, 828-774-6343. We're here for what matters most, you.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday Night Rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or love the savings.
Wheels for Meals in Western North Carolina is doing it again. Their next car show for a cause is coming up Saturday, May 24th. Cars Against Breast Cancer at the Advanced Auto Parts in Oakley Plaza, 801 Fairview Road. It'll be an afternoon of family-friendly fun with a 50-50 and raffle prizes, including a PS5 and the grand prize, a week in a condo in Myrtle Beach, Tennessee, or Virginia. There'll be live music, face painting, and games for the kids. Join Wheels for Meals Western North Carolina, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, May the 24th at Oakley Plaza.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's
You
time to know
cannot
the
hear
facts.
Now I can.
People.
Okay,
It's
I've been doing that for a full minute, and you didn't hear a word of it.
Commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can
I did not
fit pills that resemble prescription medications.
And now it sounds good.
I know it did because I just literally took everything off this computer. There is now no other device that can ever make noise on this computer.
Okay.
Deal on fentanyl.
Now it sounds perfect.
Message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
They were all disabled. I had to delete.
On the weird scale, there's
wild.
There's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
And we are back at the Sportsocracy. It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It's time to get weird. And firefighters up in Wolcott, Connecticut, had to do not a swift water rescue, because it wasn't swift water. It wasn't like flash flooding happened. But they had to do a water rescue the other day. You know, you get to... I don't know that you get to do that much up there in Wolcott, Connecticut, but they had to take out the boats yesterday to go retrieve a man from the center of the lake. And the worst part about it, to me, is the fact that it was a local police officer. Had just ran off the road straight into a pond. And there's a video of the cop standing on top of the SUV. Looks like one of those Explorer things. Just hanging out in the middle of the lake. That's probably one of the worst screw-ups you could do on the job, I would think. As a member of the emergency services, to have to be, emergency serviced yourself, I have to imagine that's one of those things that you will never live down.
I'm here.
I
I did that thing that you do quite often. If I didn't hear a word you just said, because I forgot my story. I found this yesterday. I forgot it, and it started to piss me off again. And so I was just sitting here getting angry about it. My story is about an Instagram influencer.
Okay.
Her name is Pietra Lucas. And I'm not going to lie. She is a lot of fun to look at. But I already hate her, and I only know one thing about her. She was getting on a Delta Airlines flight yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
She brought her service animal with her.
Mm-hmm.
What is the worst creature I could say right here?
Alligator.
Nope. Alligator could have the little muzzle over its mouth. Alligator, it probably had to be tranquilized to get it on a plane. This is one that you're really bending the rules of your service animal.
The squirrel.
You're not thinking about on a domestic flight. What do you not have a lot of on a domestic flight? Room. You don't have a lot of room.
Okay.
So the worst thing you could bring would be something that's very large.
Ah, okay. Where is it? She didn't have like a cow.
It's not a cow, but you're closer than you should be.
A goat?
Her service animal is a service Great Dane. This dog is bigger than I am. Like standing is bigger than I am. It's bigger than the stewardess that waves them on the plane, and she put it in a seat. I will show
Did she buy it a seat?
Yes, she did buy it a seat.
All right. Well, at least there's that.
I will show my whole keister if this ever happens to me. Like, there's only two solutions here. Either that dog will be removed from this flight, or I will be removed by a federal air marshal. Because there is no shot I am sitting next to that slobbering dog that you tell me is a service animal because you put a little jacket on it. I don't believe you. Stop bringing animals on airplanes.
Thank you. That's a great idea.
I mean, hey, look, if you want to bring a little dog that fits in your purse, okay.
Nope.
And people that the people that approve service animals, like, I don't know who that is. I've never needed one. I don't need like an emotional support raccoon or anything like that. If you do, okay, I think I'm confused by you, but
I need one now.
The people that sign off on these things, I think we need some oversight. I am campaigning to now be on the board of what qualifies as a service animal.
Mm-hmm. But here's the problem. You can't tell them no, or you get sued.
Oh, no, I could. No, look, we're in a different age, Tech. I'm going to send an email.
Tell it, yeah, give him a call.
Look, while you're out here making all these agencies, I think we need to have the agency of what is a damn service animal. And that's what I want it called, too. Ask me. Hey, this is my emotional therapy skunk. Cool. He can ride in the cargo bay. He does not need to be up here with peoples.
Well, see, I'm not even down with that.
Oh, I know. I'm fine with that. Look, if you check the animal, they have things for that. I've seen them do it.
No, if you bring if you bring an animal on this plane, or you cannot bring an animal on this plane that could cause harm to everyone by spraying us with his scent. That's not happening.
Well, for a skunk to be an emotional service animal, that would have to be disabled. That is.
Are you sure?
Well, it's just like dogs. Dogs have to pass a test of domestication and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That they're not just going to randomly bite people. You also can't touch them, which I didn't know. You can't pet like an actual honest to God service animal. You can't pet it.
Yeah, no.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody do it at a bar not that long ago, and they like freaked out.
Oh yeah, don't do that. You see that little vest on a dog? Do not touch the vest.
It's just, look. You need an emotional support animal or a service dog or whatever. Cool, I'm totally fine with that. It should not be bigger than I am. You need a dog that doesn't weigh 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
My ex-wife had Great Danes. Those things are so impractical. They had a couch that dog slept on. Like, you put a couch in your house for that dog to sleep on.
Yep.
I never could wrap my brain around that.
You have to. They're huge.
But then have it outside.
They're beautiful dogs.
They are. They were the sweetest dogs.
Yes.
They loved everybody. The only thing is that, to pet it, I had to get a step stool, and I'm 6'5". I have no problem with you having the dog. I don't want it to come off that way. Why does the thing that makes you feel good have to inconvenience everyone around you? That's my line.
Mm-hmm.
If your service animal makes you feel good and makes everybody else feel bad, wrong service animal. Smaller.
Mm-hmm. Again, who gets to decide that, though?
The Department of is that a damn service animal? I've already established that.
The new service animals are.
Yeah, me. Man, this guy right here. the guy that takes domestic flights all the time. Me.
Mullets, mutts. That's what we're doing.
That's good.
We're just.
That's good. I love dogs. I do. I love dogs. Just, I don't want you to have a 300-pound dog. It's like a bull mastiff.
Right.
Good friend of mine growing up had one of those. He's not a service animal. His name was Tega. He liked to dance with people, and he would dance with you whether you wanted him to or not. It didn't matter because he was bigger than you.
All right, let's get to another team least improved over the 2025 NFL offseason. Who's in trouble now?
I mean, I feel like this is – we don't have a lot of time here, so I don't have to talk about this for long. The New York Football Jets.
Oh, perfect spot for your team.
They're so irrelevant. This coming from a fan of the team. I mean, like a 30-plus year fan of the team. I don't think I've ever seen a roster that I looked at and went, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care. I don't think the defense is going to be as good as it was. Losing C.J. Mosley hurts. I like Jamie Sherwood. I like Quincy Williams. I mean, I like a lot of the pieces on the defense. But I just look at the offense and go, you're going to break an NFL record for rushing yards. You may also break an NFL record for fewest passing yards.
Mm-hmm. You brought in Justin Fields. You got Breece Hall, Braylon Allen. You've got a lot of dudes that can carry the water offensively. But you have to lean into that. The question is, do you have the offensive linemen to make that kind of work? And I just don't know that you can't win that way in this league, can you?
No. Now, I feel good about the offensive line. For the first time in 35 years, I have to say I look at the offensive line and go, that's going to be probably the best part of this team. But you don't have anybody that scares anybody over the top. You know, Arian Smith, I liked him in the process. I still like Malachi Corley. They don't fit what you do. Arian Smith he may be able to play that Jameson Williams role, but you have to worry about the hands. And this is a team that, I mean, you look up and down this roster, they have so many slot receivers. I don't know that I've ever seen a team that the Jets legit have 8.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 12 guys on the roster, 8 of the 12 play, if not exclusively out of the slot. They play a lot there.
And the only really great one is Garrett Wilson. Everybody else is sometimes he can be good. Alan Lazard, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson. I remember when he was going to be a thing.
He's been a thing in small doses, but he's another guy that plays predominantly out of slot.
Right. Malachi Corley, Arian Smith, just like all of these, it's just a bunch of dudes. If you're going to have a suspect quarterback or a quarterback that's not very great, then you want to give him as many weapons as possible. And this is not how you do it.
I'm going to make a comparison here. And this is the only thing giving me a little bit of hope. I feel like the New York Jets are the Detroit Lions in reverse.
Okay.
They get the new coach that is the biting kneecaps, just physical, we're going to grind it out coach.
Okay. This is Aaron Glenn.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But he has all the pieces on the defense, not the offense. I'm just not sure you can win in the NFL this way. I don't know that the way this league is legislated now and the way it's officiated, I'm not sure you can be a defensive first team. And people are going to say, but Philadelphia just won a Super Bowl with a great defense. They had a good offense too.
Mm-hmm.
They also had the leading rusher in the NFL. They have the best offensive line in the NFL. They had a quarterback that played out of his mind in the playoffs. I don't know that you can win this way. But if you can, I do feel good about Aaron Glenn being the one to do it. I love Aaron Glenn, even after a very odd interaction we had at the Combine.
What, have I heard this story?
It was weird. He came in, he was very combative with the media.
Hmm.
It was odd. There were more Jets podcasters and media guys there than probably any other team in the league. He was very combative. Which, okay, you're trying to establish a culture. I get it to a point. It felt needless to me at times. I still love Aaron Glenn. I just look at this team and go, what does the game script of a perfect game look like? Justin Fields goes 12 of 18 for 186 yards. He, Breece Hall, and Braylon Allen rush for 220, and you hold a team to 10 points? I mean, is that your perfect day?
Probably.
I don't know that you can win consistently that way in the NFL.
You're going to win a bunch of 21-17 ball games.
I'm not so sure that they will.
Sounds very Pittsburgh Steelery to me.
Speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, we have a super chat about their NFC counterpart.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
It's from Matthew Hoffman, who said, what if San Francisco just moves on from Purdy, drafts some middle-of-the-road quarterback next year, the same way they did with Purdy? If I thought there was any chance they were going to do that, I would be pushing them to do that. The problem is now that the roster's atrophying so much because they're getting older, and they're not doing a good job of replacing these guys. Look, I like Ricky Pearsall to a point. I thought I was higher on him than anybody. I had a third-round grade on him. You took him in the first. Juwan Jennings, he was a great story when he was cheap. He's not cheap anymore. Christian McCaffrey's not cheap anymore. You had to get him in a trade. George Kittle, you drafted him a long time ago. Deebo Samuel, that's a guy you traded you drafted. You couldn't wait to get rid of him. They do a great job of drafting running backs. Hammy and Son pointed that out, that he really liked the Jordan James acquisition. I have no problem with the running backs. They do a good job of drafting running backs. One of the things that has always stuck with me is a scout told me a long time ago, watch what teams don't draft well. When the things that you draft well are the cheapest positions to acquire, and the things you don't draft well are the most expensive positions to acquire, you're dead in the water. Mm-hmm. The 49ers draft running backs and linebackers really well. They don't do a great job with offensive linemen. It's passable at best. They don't do a good job with wide receivers. They historically don't do a good job with quarterbacks, and they don't do a good job with corners. That's 4 of the 5 most expensive positions in the NFL.
Yep.
Linebacker and running back are the 2 cheapest.
And they're going to end up tied to Brock Purdy.
No doubt.
I don't see any other path for them not signing him. Maybe they should, but they won't. Let him walk. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. More least improved in the NFL coming up next.
ESPN Asheville.
And we're clear.
Your mountain
What, I got 5 minutes here?
Yes, sir.
Out here this afternoon, a slight chance for a shower storm here this afternoon. Highs in the low to mid-70s. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, middle to upper 40s. Partly sunny skies again tomorrow. Not quite as warm, upper 60s to around 70 Saturday afternoon. And a chance of showers heading through Saturday night and Sunday, otherwise mostly cloudy skies. Highs Sunday afternoon. Upper part of the 60s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Appalachian Sitework.
Need reliable site preparation? Then choose Appalachian Sitework. From excavation to grading, they handle it all with precision and care. Proudly serving Western North Carolina. Visit appsiteinc.com for more information. appsiteinc.com.
Bonus Bucks. Bonus Bucks. Once you win $1,000 in bonus bucks, you'll have more money to use on your fantasy leagues. Bonus Bucks. The winning happens every weekday, right here
on ESPN Asheville.
Looking for a rewarding career with stability and purpose? The NC Department of Adult Correction is hiring correctional officers statewide with a $10,000 sign-on bonus, competitive pay, and benefits. Visit dac.nc.gov/cojobs.
How do you spot the all-new Nissan Rogue Rock Creek? Here's a hint. It's got all-terrain tires, a tubular roof rack you can't miss, and it's tough inside and out with lava red detail. You'll also find it in its natural habitat, climbing mountains, attacking rugged trails, and never backing down from any adventure. The first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
Intelligent all-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Always secure cargo. Heavy loading of the vehicle with cargo, especially on the roof, will affect the handling and stability of the vehicle.
Don't postpone better sleep. Shop Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale now. Upgrade to a premium bed from a curated selection and take your rest to the next level. Don't miss out. Visit Mattress Firm.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger, who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger.
Have you watched the
get it done?
That new 30 for 30 that came out about Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton?
Stroke is a
No, I haven't.
I highly recommend it.
Okay.
signs: face drooping, arm weakness, or slurred speech.
Did they call it taking your shot?
No, they called it shooting guards.
Beautiful.
Which is the best name you'll ever hear.
Eat well, stay active, and monitor your blood pressure and cholesterol. Learn more and take our free stroke health risk assessment at myhaywood.
I forgot Javaris Crittenton did 10 years in jail.
In this medical minute, Regional Medical Center.
This is J.W. Whitley, General Manager at Parks Ford of Hendersonville.
And I know I'd never heard the whole story.
Parks Community Heroes, Corey and Kristen Short, and the entire team at Silverados, who converted their music venue in Black Mountain into a donation and distribution zone in the wake of Hurricane Helene. Corey and his team founded Valley Strong Disaster Relief, dedicated to providing essential support to our neighbors in need. Nominate your Parks Community Hero at parkscommunityheroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com.
Bear Smokehouse Barbecue in Asheville has two things that all sportsocracy.
Kelvin Joyner said, do we need to draft 30 for 30s? I think we do.
Oh, yeah. And they've got the balls. Bear's famous bear balls are packed with mac and cheese, pulled pork, cornbread, and deep fried and then topped with bacon and cheese sauce. This is the place to be. Live music on Saturdays and the first Sunday of every month. They partner with the Guitar Bar to host Mr. Jimmy's Barbecue. I like that. There's a lot of good ones.
I may be an unfair advantage, though, because I've seen them all.
Showtime Sports have teamed up under a new local owner to serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Mountain Graphics and Showtime Sports can customize whatever you, your team, or your local group may need with high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving. Visit mtngraphicsavl.com or showtimesportsavl.com. That's mtngraphicsavl.com or showtimesportsavl.com for your local one-stop custom apparel shops.
Welcome to the Ingalls Table, a delicious destination with recipes galore. Need to whip up a dessert, entree, side dish? No problem. The experts from the Ingalls Table
Are you still doing
step by
keto?
step, with expert tips and advice along the way.
No, I should be, but I'm not.
Markets.com or swing by the store.
My doctor's got me doing these keto protein bowls
And let's get cooking.
as a snack.
Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
So good.
From the Ingalls studio,
WPEK Fairview,
WMXF Waynesville,
W225CJ Candler.
the #1 preset in your car, and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, money. That's money. Enter it now.
Go to ESPNAVL.com to play, and good luck.
Live from the Ingalls studio,
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
the Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dogs eat! Let them on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons. By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment. Oh, my God. The Jets killed him.
It is ESPN Asheville. The Sportsocracy is live from the Ingalls studio and the NFLDraft.net Mullet Manor. It is a Friday afternoon. Again, encourage everyone to don't forget the moms this weekend. If you haven't made plans, you still got time. Put a little thought into it, maybe more than just, when you get up on Sunday morning, go, oh, crap, I forgot. And then have to rush to the, store or something. Don't go buy mom like one of those fake roses at the gas station, because we all know what those turn into. You don't want to get her those.
What? Okay, now I'm scared that I'm
and
asking.
You never seen the little roses, the roses that unfold into like little panties.
No,
you've never seen those at a gas station.
No, now that I don't smoke, I don't have any reason to go in a gas station ever.
Well, it's not a new thing,
and I didn't.
They've been around for a long time.
I mean, are they edible?
I have no idea. I've never bought one. I know that.
Are
they
you
exist.
sure? You knew an awful lot about that for somebody that's never bought one.
I've seen them before. Never bought one though. You always tend to see them like at like the truck stop, right off the interstate. I don't think he's buying that for his wife. That's
so. What you're telling me is that you spend an inordinate amount of time at truck stops. Confirm something that I've thought for a long time about you.
I hate you. Welcome into the program. It's Wacky Friday.
God, you're like we used to
doing stuff.
I go back to the How I Met Your Mother was the funniest. That was the funniest show that's ever written. Berta, the housekeeper, used to talk about their dog. They had a dog, Magoo, and they called him Magoo because he was blind and he would just bump into walls. You remind me of that dog. You walk yourself down a path and you're like, nothing bad can come from this.
Nope.
Oh wait, it can because I'm talking to a jackass.
We're talking about the least improved teams over the NFL offseason thus far. San Francisco, Pittsburgh, New York Jets have all been discussed. Next on the list of least improved would be who?
So I haven't asked you, and I didn't ask you this yesterday either. Mm-hmm. Is there a team you feel like should be on this list?
No, I mean not right off the top of my head. I mean probably Minnesota. I don't like. I just don't. When you made the decision of, yep, we're just gonna let Sam walk out. To me, it went, okay, well, now I don't believe in anything that you're doing.
Okay, so when you say you don't believe in anything, elaborate on that.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, you have a star receiver. Awesome. And now you have J.J. McCarthy throwing to Justin Jefferson. Oh, he's gonna set some records. Awesome. You're not gonna win anything now. Last year you were fighting for the division title. Nobody expected that. And now you're fighting over the scraps of that division between the Bears and the Packers? You did a lot of damage.
I do not have the Vikings on my list.
Really?
No. And I'll tell you why. I do not like the J.J. McCarthy thing either. But can I play devil's advocate?
Sure.
How many teams in the NFL would you take their defense over Minnesota's right now? And just remember, this is a team that fully restocked the cupboard on that defensive line. So now you've got Jonathan Allen, you got Javon Hargrave, you got Harrison Phillips, you still got Grenard and Van Ginkel on the outside, Cashman and Pace in the middle. You had Isaiah Rodgers, who I think that's probably not going to be as good as you want it to be, but it's considerably better than what you had out there last year.
Mm-hmm. Your front seven's really good.
I think their back half's fine. I don't like that your best corner is a slot guy until I look around that division and go, oh, the best receiver on every one of these teams is a slot guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
that makes
Ambry Thomas, Isaiah Rodgers, and Byron Murphy, that doesn't do a lot for me.
I would figure Mekhi Blackman's probably the starter on the outside on the other side. Just the third-round pick from USC that basically got a blip year last year because he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him coming in, so that's I may be a little bit biased because I'm going back to the eval I did on him last year, looking at this as, okay, in my own head now, he's your 3, Murphy's your 1, Rodgers is your 2, and your front 7's so good that I'm not overly worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
They also may have the best offensive line in the league. Adding Ryan Kelly and Will Freeze to Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you drafted Donovan Jackson, who we all know I don't love, but I also said there was no bust in whatsoever. So your line's really good. Your defense is really good. You got a mobile quarterback. What does that tell you?
What?
This team's going to run way more than you think they are.
Okay.
You and I don't do the fantasy football stuff anymore. That's David Smith and Zach Hurst. But I'm telling you right now, I'm going to have way more shares of Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason than anybody else. Because I see a path that this team runs a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean a whole lot.
And is it going to translate to wins? That's what I asked myself. The Minnesota Vikings were 14-3 last year. I don't know that this team is any better than a 10-win team at best.
They won a lot of one-score games last year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at who they play?
No.
So obviously you get the 6th in the division.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're 3-3-ish in the division.
Maybe.
Then you get outside of that. Their home games are the Atlanta Falcons, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles.
You're going to get smoked in 4 of those games.
I think you're going to get the bejesus beat out of you in all 5 of them. Because I don't think you can score with any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Your defense is good. Good defense in the NFL gets beat by good offense routinely. But then you look at the games they have to go on the road. It's lesser teams, but dig into it a little bit. Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, Seattle Seahawks, Los Angeles Chargers. 4 of those 6 games, if they're on the backside of that schedule, could be cold weather games. You could be playing outside in December or January in New York, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Seattle. And Seattle's not cold weather, it's just a lot of rain.
Mm-hmm.
None of that's good. None of that's good. The Minnesota Vikings are probably my favorite bet the under on the number of games they win, and I don't care what the number is because their schedule is evil. They may play the toughest schedule in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. That's why they're on the list to me.
I don't know that that's a regression in the team, though.
100% it's a regression in the team.
No, it's not to me.
If you
regressed, so name me a position outside of quarterback where they regressed.
Oh, I can't.
That's because there's not one. That's why I couldn't put them on this list. Yes, quarterback is that's a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that scares me, and using fantasy to prop up my argument here, there's no shot I have Justin Jefferson on a fantasy team this year. None. Because I wouldn't take him in the first 3 rounds. Because I don't see any way J.J. McCarthy is going to get the level of volume to him that he needs to pay that off. Gary Birch in the YouTube chat also did just say this. Though. I was trying to figure out a way to say this, and he said it more streamlined than I could have. You can be a better team and have a worse record. And I think the Minnesota Vikings from 2 to 53 will be a better team with a significantly worse record.
Okay. There's a chance. But I don't know how you can be a better team if you can't score. You can be a better defense, but you can't be a better team.
Well,
I think they're still going to.
You're doing that New York Giants thing. You're doing that New York Giants thing because you're not looking at. I mean, really dig into who they beat last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got Minnesota's schedule pulled up here from last year. Their wins were over. You got one over the Texans. You got one over the Packers. Other than that, you didn't beat you got 2 over the Packers. You beat them twice. You didn't beat another playoff team last year. Not one. Your wins were the Giants, the 49ers, the Jets, the Jaguars, the Colts, the Titans, the Bears, the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Bears again, and the Seahawks. You can be an improved team, and your schedule just got way worse because those two schedules don't even look like they belong in the same league. What you're playing this upcoming year, what you played last year, that would also give me a little pause for concern if I was Seattle. Sam did beat up on a lot of mediocre defenses. You know, I love Sam, and Seattle is far from this list that we're talking about today. I don't think Minnesota as a roster is worse today than they were last year. They're worse at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And JJ's such an unknown that it was just hard for me to put them here.
Okay. All right.
You also seem to gristle at that premise that you can be a better team with a worse record.
It just, I mean, it flies in the face of everything that we're taught about sports.
It doesn't for me.
Worse, if you're 4 wins worse than you were last year, you're not a better team than you were last year.
It's not. It doesn't fly in the face for me. It's your record is a. There's a lot more that goes into your record than just how good of a team you are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't mean to switch between college and pro here, but an 8-4 team in the SEC is night and day better than a 10-2 team in the MAC.
Sure.
Your record is partially your environment. Yeah, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, are a great example of this. I really haven't meant to harp on them all year, or all week, but they just keep coming up. You go 10-7 in the NFC South, you would be lucky to go 7-10 in the AFC North.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make you a better team.
No, it doesn't.
So it's the same premise. You're looking at it in the vacuum of one team. The New York Giants were the same team year over year. They went to the playoffs one year at, 10-7, got absolutely dog-walked by Minnesota, oddly enough. Or no, that might have been Philadelphia. I can't remember. Somebody beat the bejesus out of them in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The next year they had the exact same roster. They were 6 games worse.
Mm-hmm.
They were never a better team. They played a significantly lesser schedule. And then Saquon had injury issues, and now you're just getting walked. I don't live by that you are what your record says you are thing. I don't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to a point, yes, there is a merit to that of if you're really going brass tacks, you are what your record says you are, but it can be so misleading.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. We'll talk more least improved teams of the offseason up next.
The iHeartRadio app.
Clear.
That's just like in the car.
That worked great because I only had 2 more least improved teams left.
ESPN Asheville, the Mountain's favorite sports station, streaming 24/7. Your home for the Sportsocracy. Weekdays at noon. The Tar Heels and Atlanta Braves baseball.
News has never been so important.
We've got breaking news from Capitol Hill.
And iHeart makes it so easy to stay in the know with 24/7 news on iHeartRadio.
A major breakthrough in medical research.
Live around the clock, so you're never more than 3 minutes away from the stories that matter most.
Extreme weather is impacting millions.
24/7 news, right at your fingertips with the free iHeart app, where you can now make 24/7 news a preset for even quicker access. 24/7 news on iHeartRadio.
When you buy pickles, what kind do you
North
buy?
Carolina? At Clarissa Sells WNC, we're proud to be the #1 real
Usually Mount Olive.
selling over 100 homes in 2024. We represent both buyers
Have
and
you ever had a
sellers,
Clausen?
and with a personalized.
Oh yeah.
Clarissa Sells
That's the best pickle in the
WNC.
world.
Real estate isn't about properties. It's about
The
people.
Clausen Mini
Call me today.
is
Clarissa
unbeatable.
Marshall at 828.
I can eat them out of the jar.
6343. When it comes to real estate, we're here
And
for
I
what
know that
matters
because
most.
I'm doing it
You.
right now.
I'm Cody Ward.
And
we're the Chainsaw Brothers.
Actually, we're cousins. A few days after Helene, we was in the driveway having a couple beers, waiting on the power to come back on. And we heard so many people calling, needing trees removed, and couldn't afford it.
So I called my dad to borrow a chainsaw, and over the next few months, we cleared trees for our neighbors. Our business was born out of wanting to help Western North Carolina get back on our feet.
We are fully insured and licensed. We keep our promises, meaning if we say we're going to be there, we'll be there. In these parts, we live how we were raised.
When you call the Chainsaw Brothers, you're not a customer, you're family. We're good at what we do.
Did I tell you about the message that I got
All
about
your
this
chainsaw
commercial?
Needs, call the Chainsaw Brothers.
No.
Somebody that very obviously was from another state
us on Facebook.
sent me
See how
a
we
message
treat our
on
family.
Instagram
Are you still
that
covered
said,
up with storm damage and debris?
mentioned these
Call
guys
us about our
and
daily
said,
rates.
could you
828
spell the word
316
Bari for me?
1013.
And I responded with, and I did it
Chainsaw
like
Bros,
hyphenated,
with our
like you would,
neighbors,
like
we're
you're
West
spelling a
North
word.
Carolina strong.
NORTHCAROLINA. Bari.
Our butchers cut all
Yeah.
fresh in the store.
I think
every
every
day.
member of my
Grass-fed,
family
organic,
says it
you
that way.
name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. Our mission, to improve lives with every interaction. This is JW, General Manager at Parks Ford Hendersonville. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com. That's parksfordhendersonville.com.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumber than a bag of hammers.
It is ESPN Asheville. We are the Sportsocracy. And happy Friday to everybody. Hey, if you are thinking of, a way that you can really show mom that you appreciate her this holiday, you know what you could do. You know what you could buy her.
I'm so scared of what you're about to say.
Balls. You could buy her some balls over at Bear's Smokehouse Barbecue, 135 Cox Avenue, South Asheville on Sweeten Creek Road. Bear's Smokehouse Barbecue has the best meats in town, and we all know that that's what mom's really craving this Mother's Day is meat. So you can get her some down on Cox Avenue. Bear's Smokehouse Barbecue, it is the official barbecue of the Sportsocracy. I love every part of their menu. I've not had a single thing from there that was just okay. Everything on the menu is fabulous. Of course, they have all of the libations that you could possibly concoct in your own head. Full bar service. The outdoor area that has been redone there at Bears on the South Slope. Very cool place to hang out in the evenings, especially now that the weather's a little better. I mean, when it's not hailing, of course, like it was yesterday. But hanging out around the fire pits at Bear's Smokehouse on a Saturday night, listening to some live music, one of the best things that you could possibly do with your time on a Saturday night. Check them out at bearsbbq.com. Bear's Smokehouse Barbecue, the official barbecue of the Sportsocracy.
My mother, I believe, would prefer the Mac Attack, but that's just my mom.
Okay. All right. You can get her a bowl. That's fine. My mom loves a good bowl every now and then.
I thought you were about to say something way different. I was just going to walk off. Like, I can't. I have not laughed in the last 2 minutes. It has been very difficult.
Where do you think I learned it from? Okay. Now.
That explains that truck stop thing we talked about the last second. Magoo. Look at you just bumping into walls.
The least improved teams over the offseason so far in the NFL. You got another one for us?
I have two more. And I feel like I'm going to get some pushback on the one I'm getting ready to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. What about this team makes any sense to you right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you just look up and down at the roster, what makes sense? I keep hearing about how Liam Cohen's going to, the offense is going to be better. Is it? Because your offensive line is a joke.
Well, you have replacement level players at what, two of the positions at least?
You have replacement level players on about 2/3 of this roster.
I mean, Robert Hainsey, been there, done that. Not that great.
You paid Patrick McCarry,
mm-hmm.
of which it should always tell you something when the Baltimore Ravens go, we're good. That should always be a red flag to you. Because Baltimore loves tapping out on a guy a year before he just craters into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do with this team.
That's the best thing they got is they're taking swings at this point.
I have to ask you, how do you believe they're going to use Travis Hunter? There's been a lot of debate about this the last few days.
Well, I mean, I believe that they are. He is going to be their number 2 wide receiver, and he'll be like a number 2 cornerback. I mean, they're going to have to figure out how to split his snaps, but this is why I was okay with them making the deal, was that this was a team that I could see making this jump. Because it at least gives you something. It gives you a tool that you can use on both sides of the ball. He can be amazing at both. Not necessarily at the same time and not necessarily all the time. But I think you can score some points here. If Trevor Lawrence, if they can, squeeze every bit of talent they possibly can out of Trevor Lawrence, they can score points with Brian Thomas and De'Ami Brown and Travis Hunter.
The thing that scares me is over the last few days, I genuinely think that Travis Hunter very well may be almost exclusively a wide receiver.
Really?
I've heard a lot of he's not going to see as much defense as you think.
Okay.
I really think there's a possibility that they're going to use him almost exclusively as a wide receiver, which scares the hell out of me. It really does, because that's not what he did best. I thought he was going to be a corner and then brought along as a wide receiver. That does not seem to be how this is going to go.
I can't imagine not using him in both respects. Because in my mind, I would bring him in and immediately he's a third of the snaps on both sides of the ball to start. And then we see how it goes. And then we flex his snaps one way or the other, whichever one he's doing the best that day. It absolutely terrifies me, or would as a coach, the prospect of a guy out there, he was playing dumb snaps in college. We can't do that. You can't play those kind of snaps in the NFL. You can't play 98% of your team's total snaps in a game. It's not happening.
But he borderline has to. With what you gave up to get him, he borderline has to. And then you look at the roster, he borderline has to. Because if Travis Hunter's not their number 2 wide receiver, then who is their 2?
It'll be De'Ami.
De'Ami, I think, is the 3 regardless. But then you're getting into like Parker Washington, who's 4'7", and yes, he's really fast, but that's all he is. That's all he is.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to the defensive side, and you got 2 slot corners that are playing in your top 3. It just makes me nervous. Jacksonville to me feels like one of those teams that doesn't have a plan. And I always get nervous when it feels like you're just giving money to whoever will take your money, especially when you start giving away future capital. Which is what you did. You gave up a 1 to get Travis Hunter, which basically forces him to be a guy that plays both ways.
Yes. It's what we drafted you to be. This is like borderline the whole Deebo Samuel thing again. Remember 2 years ago when he was wanting the big contract, but he didn't want to run the ball anymore? What do you mean you don't want to run the ball? Then I'm not paying you.
Exactly.
What you want. Like, you're not going to do the thing that you're the best at? That's not happening. Which is why I'll believe it when I see it. if Jacksonville is going to make him solely a wide receiver, even to start out with, I think that's misguided, but
I just think it's misguided the way you're going about it. I really do. I think it's misguided the way you're going about it. He should be starting as your for me, it would be your number one corner because he's the best corner on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And then you sprinkle him in offensively because it's easier to learn those things. Defense, especially when you play zone, is much more a cohesive unit. Wide receiver, I can teach you to run the route tree. I can sprinkle you in on offense. They're playing with him is scaring me to death. Their lack of talent. You spent a lot of money, and I don't think you got any better.
Mm-hmm. Again,
and you've done that like 10 times. You kept saying, "Oh, it's Trent Baalke." Trent Baalke has nothing to do with any of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's Joey Gladstone who has put this ridiculous roster together. That you have used so many high-end picks. I'll ask you the same thing I asked you about Pittsburgh. How many players on this team are top 5 in the league at their own position? None.
I was going to say,
they don't have one. That's almost impossible to wrap your brain around when you spent this much money in free agency and you've had this many picks. Jacksonville's had more they had multiple first-rounders in 2020. They have like 7 former first or very, very early second-rounders on this roster. And I'm not sure any of them are any good.
Mm-hmm. Josh Hines Allen would be the closest one.
I would have said Brian Thomas Jr., but picking nits, I suppose.
Is he a top 5? Is he
Brian Thomas Jr. is really good.
Close to the top 5?
He's really good.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying he's not. I know he is. I just don't. Is he up there already? Like him and Malik Neighbors. I'm not ready there. I'm not ready to go that high.
That's because you
move good.
That's because you move like a cruise ship.
He's damn good, but
yeah, BTJ and Malik Neighbors, they're both top 12 guys as we sit here.
Sure.
But you also you're more of like a track record and
yeah.
For me, it's I watch Brian Thomas Jr. beat the New York Jets by himself, or almost beat the New York Jets by himself.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have anything else, and it was a sight to behold. I also watched Malik Neighbors at times last year get triple teamed, and it didn't matter.
All right, the Jacksonville Jaguars on the list. Least improved teams over the 2025 NFL offseason so far. We'll take a break. When we come back, it will be time for the most important message of the day, as well as find out who the final team is to be highlighted here in, hey, look who screwed up the offseason.
ESPN Asheville.
Clear.
Mountain weather forecast.
Partly sunny skies and mild out here this afternoon. A slight chance for a shower or storm here this afternoon. Highs in the low to mid-70s. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, middle to upper 40s. Partly sunny skies again tomorrow. Not quite as warm, upper 60s to around 70 Saturday afternoon. And a chance of showers heading through Saturday night and Sunday, otherwise mostly cloudy skies. Highs Sunday afternoon. Upper part of the 60s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Robert Half. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why their recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI work quickly to find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Find mom's best gift at Target. Now through Mother's Day, get up to 40% off gifts for her. Discover trendy apparel and swimwear that'll elevate any wardrobe. Jewelry that'll make her smile shine brighter, and even chocolate that'll turn any moment into something sweeter. There are endless options to choose from to show her she's the best. Hurry! Save 20 to 40% on select apparel, jewelry, chocolates, and more this Mother's Day only at Target. Restrictions apply.
All about the presets.
That is the best new feature. It's like a car radio right on the app. There's a list of what's trending. There's all the podcasts. I love it.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, we found out a lot of things about our community. We saw neighbors helping neighbors, and we learned in desperate times one of the best things to have around is a redneck with a chainsaw.
Not just a chainsaw, boy, just country boys in general. When you live in these mountains, you figure it out. Like, you make stuff happen.
After answering the calls for help that they heard on the radio, the Chainsaw Brothers are still here, making it happen the right way. Fair, insured, and local. Need tree help? Call the Chainsaw Brothers. 316-1013. 316-1013.
This is J.W. Whitley, General Manager at Parks Ford of Hendersonville. I would like to introduce you to some of our very own Parks community heroes. Like Trent and Doug, whose first instinct was to fill their trucks with supplies and drive to the areas that were hardest hit in those first hours. Like Spencer, who helped build a bridge out of debris to rescue 7 families after the road was washed away. Nominate your Parks Community Hero today at parkscommunityheroes.com. That's parkscommunityheroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com.
Bear Smokehouse Barbecue in Asheville has 2 things that all Sportsocracy fans crave. Bold flavors and big portions. Oh, yeah. And they've got the balls. Bear's famous bear balls are packed with mac and cheese, pulled pork, cornbread, and deep fried and then topped with bacon and cheese sauce. This is the place to be. Live music on Saturdays and the first Sunday of every month. They partner with the Guitar Bar to host Mr. Jimmy's Barbecue Blues. Bear Smokehouse Barbecue in downtown Asheville and South Asheville.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy, and it is time for the most important message of the day, Jeremy Greene.
Don't do crimes!
Don't do crimes, indeed. If you do the worst of crimes, you know what the penalty for the worst of crimes is. The death, right? That's the worst.
I was going to say you have to work TSA at O'Hare, but
no, that's the afterlife. That's God's punishment. The worst punishment that can be doled out for a crime in America legally is death. South Carolina, they do things different down there now. Did you know that they had brought back the firing squad?
I did not know that. I know somebody got executed that way not that awful long ago.
That's who we're going to talk about. That's exactly who we're going to talk about. Macau Mahdi was the name of the guy who was recently put to death in South Carolina by firing squad. It is the second firing squad execution this year in the state of South Carolina. As the story says here, a state that has aggressively revived capital punishment over the last 7 months and brought back the controversial firearm method that has rarely been used in the modern death penalty era. Now, the South Carolina bringing back the firing squad is strange to me. Not that I disagree with the execution method. It's just I didn't think we still did this anymore. And maybe if we're going to bring back controversial methods, quote unquote, of execution, maybe we should execute the execution a little bit better. Because there are rules, right? There's a guideline. There's a humane guideline for how this needs to be carried out, right? You limit the amount of pain and suffering that someone can endure. The way that they do this in South Carolina is a little amusing to me. Because, again, I would think that this day and age, maybe we would be a little bit more scientific about the execution method here. So they bring him in, strap him down to a chair in the middle of a room. First off, you're in a room. You're in an enclosed room firing shots in an enclosed room. Doesn't sound like a good idea to me. But it's like the same execution chamber. Sit him in the middle of the room, and then you got 3 people with firearms 15 feet away. It's not a very long shot. I feel like that's a shot that most marksmen can make. They put a target on his chest, like an actual paper target on the chest, and placed the bullseye right over the heart. They are all required to be using ammunition that does the maximum damage. Because here again, the idea is we want it to be quick, and we don't want the pain and suffering and all of that of, taking too long to die. They did the recap of how this all went down with Mr. Motti last month. Of the 3 shots that were fired in the room, only 2 of them hit his body. You're 15 feet away. That, first off, big red flag. Who we need to find out which one of you it was. We need to go to the videotape here and figure out which one missed, because you need recertification if you missed from 15 feet away. None of the 3 hit his heart, by the way. If you're going to do this, I'm just saying we need to be a little bit better on the execution of this, because now a lawsuit has been filed that there was, it took him 4 minutes to die, and that goes against the letter of the law, and who knows what's going to come out of this lawsuit. But I do feel like you could go out into the woods in South Carolina and just throw a lawn dart and hit a hunter that would be a better marksman than that. Maybe this is me. I know a lot of dudes from South Carolina. Lived there for several years.
I'm about to say, you're talking to one who lived there for quite some time.
Yeah, and in my time living in Charleston, South Carolina, which isn't even the most rural part, right? That's one of the most populated parts of Charleston, or of the state of South Carolina. I knew probably 24 guys that could probably do better than that. Just do better.
My story is from Arkansas City, Kansas, which is, I already told you, it's kind of a confused city because they have another city in their state.
Mm-hmm.
They had an issue in April of a nudeman that was just taking his afternoon stroll. He was doing it every day, and people around the neighborhood were calling the cops every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But this town had what are those called? An ordinance that, as long as you were not trying to do anything sexual, it was not illegal to be nude.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I mean, and I'm one of those that laws should make sense.
Mm-hmm.
They don't always make sense. But this one makes 0 sense. So now, Arkansas City, Kansas has a town ordinance that you can no longer walk nude after 5 o'clock.
There you go.
Why did we need the precursor of the time? You almost got it right, but you did not.
I guess you can do it while the kids are in school. I don't know. It's legal during daylight hours. I would think you could only do it after the sun goes down. I mean, if we're going to have naked people walking around, we want them to be where they can't really be seen. The middle of the day seems like a bad idea.
Your nudity is always going to be a problem for me. And I don't care who you are.
That's a new one.
By the way, can I want to say something because it's flicking my brain right now.
Oh, good Lord.
We're in the off season. We only talk about football.
This is what's going to happen.
Yeah, we do sometimes have to talk about non-sports things because we have to put 15 hours of content together a week.
I mean, we don't have to, but we'd like to.
Well, because I'm not talking about that. I'd rather talk about nude frolics than the NBA playoffs. So, now, if you like the NBA, we have a show that does that. It's just not us.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I mean, if you want to hear me say the same thing 14 times over the next 3 months, I can do that, but I don't think you're going to like it.
Yep.
Well, and I know, look, we've got a lot of new people that don't. I don't think some people understand that this is a radio show in Asheville, North Carolina. So we do have to do some of the. We have to do some of the other things, and we have live reads and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a typical YouTube show where we just straight talk 3 hours about one thing. I should probably put that in the description on YouTube. I've gotten a lot of that in the last few days, and it's like we haven't changed anything we do in the last 6 years.
Well, I mean that whole join us live on ESPN Radio Asheville.
Our YouTube doesn't actually say that.
I feel like that. I mean, I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, is it?
It says it in the first line.
Tank, I drink
show.
I drink a lot, buddy. Like
the
a lot.
First line of the description is, "Hey, ESPN Radio Show, deal with it."
We do have a super chat.
I mean, look,
though.
if you don't, I've always been a proponent of look. If you don't like it, stick around. You're gonna hate it later. Let's go to Long This as a super chat.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
I want that on the T-shirt, by the way, just so you know.
We'd all pay to never see either one of you sans clothes. Trust me, you don't have to worry about that with me at all. I'm not going to say I'm the most modest guy you've ever met in your life, but I mean, as a guy that has 24-hour access to this temple, I can tell you, it ain't real impressive.
Mm-mm.
And I live by a God made me funny and gave me great hair. That's about the extent of it. Little modesty always pays.
Yeah.
That's what I always said about unsolicited Dak Prescott photographs. It's not putting your best foot forward, boys. It's not putting your best foot forward.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to worry about that from me. I know where this stands, and there's only one person apparently in this world demented enough to care what that looks like, and God bless her for that. We will be celebrating her this weekend.
So does that mean you have stopped taking your leisurely strolls at the truck stop?
Yeah, no, I don't do that anymore. I had to give that up.
I was about to say you should change the subject the next 3 seconds because the next joke's going to be meaner than the last few.
All right, least improved teams over the 2025 NFL offseason. San Francisco, Pittsburgh, New York Jets, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jeremy, who's your fifth?
This was a difficult selection because I really wanted to say the Cincinnati Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. It's your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, my. Okay.
Can you name me a position where you're better than you were last year?
I mean, edge rusher.
You think?
We got Hassan Reddick.
You think?
Probably should work.
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, you should not count that particular chicken until it's on the plate. Ask me how I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought our pass rush was grossly improved last year, and then he never showed up. He played 8 games, but he never showed up.
But I feel like we're past that, right? Like this is different than him landing in New York.
Oh, so it's different than him doing it to Arizona and Carolina and the Jets. Oh, and Philadelphia.
Doing what?
He's literally never left a place of his own volition. And if he did leave of his own volition, he was super loud on the way out.
Okay.
That's the only thing you have improved on this team.
Maybe.
Now,
I mean,
well, hold up.
Sure.
Let me get to the point before you tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a list of facts and see if you can draw the conclusion that I'm drawing. You gave Chris Godwin a sizable money deal to be the slot receiver of this team. Fact or fiction?
I mean, he's not solely a slot receiver, but yeah. He's our
you,
number 2 target.
You want to get into the breakdown of where his snaps went last year? Because I have that if you need it.
You can go back to the year before that when it wasn't that much.
When you only had 2 guys and your offense was a quarter of what it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we figured this out over time. He's way better in the slot.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
You then drafted another slot receiver who physically at this point cannot play on the outside. Not saying he can't get there, but he's not there yet.
Correct.
What does that tell you? That's a weird way to invest your money, isn't it?
Tells me that they're planning for the future.
You're not good enough to plan for the future. And as a matter of fact, this is not a shot at you. I can say this about several other teams. How many teams in the NFL are good enough to draft for the future as we currently sit?
I think you all should be drafting for the future.
Well, not if you want to contend, you shouldn't. Because, see, you have these problems that are really, really obvious, and you want to contend for Super Bowls. Because right now you're in a window, fact or fiction. Like, you're winning this division consistently.
Yeah. We're in a successful window, yeah.
Okay, so why are you drafting a receiver in the first round that is drafting for the future? This is not a young team.
Exactly. It's not a young team, and our weapons aren't young either. We could very well turn around tomorrow and have nobody.
Chris Godwin's 29 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans is 31. Oh, by the way, and you're paying Chris Godwin for the next 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's guaranteed money in every year of that deal. Mm-hmm. I cannot physically figure out how those two play together. Now, that would bother me if it was an isolated problem. And then I realized you did the exact same thing in reverse with a bunch of positions that were actually problems. Last year, was Logan Hall a bit of an issue? Because he's not good at football.
Mm-hmm.
How many 5 technique defensive ends do you have?
2.
5 total.
Okay.
That's on a 90-man roster, and 2 of them I've never heard of before.
Okay.
You did nothing to address a huge problem on that defense. This came out of your mouth. Anthony Walker Jr. is a liability.
Yes.
You didn't even add a guy that could be a solution. You just kept taking positions, and you kept adding at positions that you already had guys. So you said Hassan Reddick was your solution as a pass rusher, right?
Yeah.
Then why'd you take David Walker? You kept taking things that you had already addressed. Now you still have 5 gigantic holes on this roster that I can't for the life of me figure out why this is so hard for people to comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield is not good enough to get you over a hump when you don't prop him up.
Right.
You have a hole on that line that's about as big as the house I'm sitting in right now.
And which one is that?
That would be at left guard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love your solution at right tackle, but it worked last year because you played a bunch of 12 personnel.
Yep.
I don't think you're doing that again. Because now you have 3 tight ends, 2 of them can't block. That's a bit of a problem. I just don't understand the roster construction. And now you have and what bothers me the most, if Liam Cohen, who I knew to be a good offensive coordinator in the NFL, was the one beating the drum for Emeka Egbuka,
mm-hmm.
I would have been okay with it. I don't trust your offensive coordinator enough to be listening to him on that. Here's what I think.
How do you know that was his call and not Jason Long's
I don't.
call?
I don't know that. I also know you have put a first-time offensive coordinator into an absolutely miserable situation of trying to figure this out.
Okay.
Because you have 2 slot receivers, neither one of them plays very well on the outside. So what's going to happen when that schedule comes out and you're front-loaded and you have this new OC and you've invested in the offense because you just gave him another weapon and you start 2-3? What happens then? You start pining for Liam Cohen, and this kid's basically been thrown under the bus. And you did this because your defense still sucks. I hate to break it to you, your defense is still bad. And it just doesn't make any cohesive sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, the rhetorical question that I asked earlier, how many teams in the NFL are good enough to be drafting for this far in the future? It's the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's the end of the list. The Kansas City Chiefs that have been to 4 Super Bowls in 6 years are not good enough to do that. I guarantee you this team that hasn't been anywhere close in the last 2 years, they're not good enough. With a mediocre quarterback that you just paid, you can't waste draft capital that way. You can't. Because there's no way for 4 receivers to be worth what you've invested in them. Because you have big money in Mike Evans, big money in Chris Godwin, a first-round pick in Emeka Ibuka, and what they take, McMillan in the second or the early third? I can't remember which one.
I think it was the third round.
I thought it was in the early third.
Yeah.
There's no way for all 4 of those guys to pay that off in the next 2 years. It's not possible. So you either set a third-round pick on fire, you set a first-round pick on fire, or you set the money you gave Chris Godwin on fire. When you have Baker Mayfield, you can't do that.
I disagree, because if I have Baker Mayfield and he's not the greatest of quarterbacks, I need to give him all the weapons I possibly can.
And that's fine,
and if we
but you still have to protect him. You can't.
Sure.
I don't,
he's got a hole on the offensive line. Okay. The other 4 spots are pretty okay.
Graham Barton was a bottom 10 center in the NFL last year by every analytical reference. Cody Mauch was in the bottom 3rd. I don't remember exactly where because I moved away from it.
Mm-hmm.
That line's not as good as you think it is. And if Chris Godwin's not what Chris Godwin once was, you're going to see the effects of that because I'm going to start sending the hellhounds at him. I think this is a better way to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
In a vacuum, I would have no problem with this. But then I look at the whole cohesion of the team. With your defense where it sits, you're going to get into a bunch of what?
Shootouts.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get into a bunch of shootouts. And you're going to have Baker Mayfield going up against Michael Penix, and I'm just thinking of the good teams in the NFC, and Matthew Stafford, and Kyler Murray, and Sam Darnold, and Jaden Daniels, and Jared Goff, and Caleb Williams. And I could keep doing this, but I think you get my point. You're going to lose those.
Maybe.
When it's Baker Mayfield against the guys I just said, you advantage them.
Sure.
I probably should have started with Michael Penix there. That was not intentional.
I was going to say, I wouldn't go one-on-one.
I'd go one-on-one Michael Penix with Baker Mayfield right now. Because Michael Penix makes about $5 more than I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that team is stacked with talent. Oh, by the way, they also have probably the best offensive line in the league. Outside of, it's them, Minnesota, and 2 or 3 others. You don't.
Mm-hmm. It's not the perfect team. I get it. But I don't see how this team got any worse this year.
That's not the point. Because I didn't say who got markedly worse. I said least improved. And I did that on purpose.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I did that on purpose. Because, see, the Carolina Panthers got way better. No matter the fact you don't like them, that doesn't matter. They got way better. The Atlanta Falcons got way better. Biggest problem they had, they couldn't rush the passer. They got 2 of the top 5 drafted in this class.
Yep.
Oh, but they gave up a first-round pick. Don't care. That doesn't matter for this argument. They both got better. You didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if we're running a race here and one of them takes a big surge and you stand in place, what just happened? They just caught you. And you're supposedly in a win-now thing. Okay, that's fine. At 20, you needed somebody that could stop anybody on the outside. And you just keep combating these problems with you still have a hole at linebacker. You still have a hole on that defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Vita Vea can only play roughly 60% of snaps, and there's nobody behind him. But you added that 470-pound kid from Florida. Woo. Yay.
Awesome.
It's just one of those things that I look at and go, if you're in a window, act like you're in a window. If you're not in a window, that's fine. You want to build for the future? Cool. Then why are you paying Chris Godwin and Baker Mayfield?
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We'll be back with you on Monday at noon. We'll see you then.
ESPN.
And we're clear.
Oh, thank you.
Weather forecast.
Partly sunny skies and mild out here this afternoon. A slight chance for a shower or storm here this afternoon. Highs in the low to mid-70s. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, middle to upper 40s. Partly sunny skies again tomorrow. Not quite as warm, upper 60s to around 70 Saturday afternoon. And a chance of showers heading through Saturday night and Sunday, otherwise mostly cloudy skies. Highs Sunday afternoon. Upper part of the 60s. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Apple Tree Superstore.
The school year is ending, and you can experience summer savings you can drive away with at Apple Tree Honda. Don't make a payment until the end of summer break. More cash in your pocket for summer with Apple Tree Honda. I-26 Airport Road, Asheville.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
How do you spot the all-new Nissan Rogue Rock Creek? Here's a hint. It's got all-terrain tires, a tubular roof rack you can't miss, and it's tough inside and out with lava red detail. You'll also find it in its natural habitat, climbing mountains, attacking rugged trails, and never backing down from any adventure. The first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
Intelligent all drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Always secure cargo. Heavy loading of the vehicle with cargo, especially on the roof, will affect the handling and stability of the vehicle.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
From the Ingalls Studio, WPEK Fairview,
WMXF
Waynesville,
W225CJ Candler,
the #1 preset in your car, and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good.